And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today we have another FAQ Friday. For those of you not familiar, we do Monetization Mondays to help you make money as a full-time content creator. Our goal is to get many of you, maybe as many as 10,000 of you, making $10,000 a month. We do Workshop Wednesdays, except for this last week because I had a family emergency. But we do Workshop Wednesdays where we deal with practical skills around being a content creator. So that could be thumbnail workshops, that could be title workshops, that can be how to set up your membership website, how to design your merch. We do a lot of those. You can check a lot of those replays out in the live tab on YouTube. And, if you're watching on any other platform than YouTube where it's easy to organize it, you just gotta hunt for it. But we do that. And then we do FAQ Fridays. And for FAQ Fridays, we do advice, we do analytics, deep dives. I show you guys some of the back end of YouTube. I'm one of the only YouTubers my size who will show the back end analytics of their YouTube channel. In fact, if we want to take a little peek at what that looks like right now, especially for those of you watching the replay, let's see. I'm trying to share that for you now. There we go. So yeah, there's channel analytics. We usually look at last 90 days because that's like a better indicator of stuff and answer some of your questions, demystifying analytics. Something a lot of you do not realize is that your unique viewers is the better indicator of your channel's health and performance. So there are a few things I use to figure out whether a YouTube channel is healthy, and maybe this will help you out if I explain some of these things. But one thing I definitely look for is I look for unique viewers, and I try to look at a 90-day period. I know a lot of you like to go off of month to month because that makes it simpler for you, but I do what businesses do. So I do everything in quarters. So like Q1 is the beginning of the year. Let's call that spring. So Q1 is spring, Q2 is summer, Q3 is fall, and then Q4 is winter. Q4 is also the best time for monetization. That's your, October, November, December. That's advertisers spending off the last of their budget because they know if they don't spend it, it doesn't roll over to the next year. So that's when ad revenue goes to the roof during October, November, December. So we try to plan accordingly. That's also where Vlogmas really came from. If you guys really want to know the truth, Vlogmas wasn't just some wonderful, nice thing YouTubers did. They did it because they realized that ad rates went up and they needed to get the last dollars in December. So I'm sorry if that kind of kills or spoils it for you, that it's like, they did this for money. But yeah, that's kind of a reality. Today's theme is also the harsh truth about being a content creator and the harsh truth about YouTube and some harsh advice. And again, this is also, I have a lot of experience with this, even with my own stuff during the pandemic. I uploaded less, and I'll show you the lifetime data. Let's go ahead and dismiss this whole invalid traffic bug thing. I wish we could dismiss it from YouTube itself as easily, but c'est la vie. But when I look at the history of my channel, one of the big things for me was I got depressed during the pandemic. A lot of people did. I'm not special in that way. But the consequence of that was I stopped uploading by about 75% less. And because I did that, what happened for me was I grew by 75% less. Before the pandemic, I was like on a growth trajectory where year after year on YouTube, and I'm going to look for this metric here, but year after year on YouTube, and if I go by, let's see, there's a thing here for me to go by date range. Actually, I can go by subscribers. And then secondary metric, I think I can go with date range for that, maybe. Oh, wait, it's going content here. I can go with date range. Yeah. And then secondary metric, I could probably go with subscribers. So for one thing, the views definitely, was a thing here. But if I add the metric subscribers to this, I could probably do videos and show you the video uploads correlation as well. But we'll sort by date here. So for me, back in the olden days, I wasn't uploading at all to YouTube. If I like really add videos added, yeah, And there's a glitch, by the way, at some point where in 2018, YouTube had a thing where it deleted all the videos and it added all the videos back. There was a big glitch back in the old days. But see, I didn't really start uploading any actual like content. I upload like less than 20 something videos. And in 2013, I started taking this seriously halfway through 2016. So sorry, 2013, July. So in July of 2013, I started uploading. And it was mostly faceless content, believe it or not. It was tutorial content. It was software tutorials, mostly for freelancers who are trying to learn Photoshop, Premiere Pro. And I am going to get to your questions. I just want to kind of set the tone here. So one of the things I did was I started uploading weekly videos, and they were tutorials for freelancers trying to use software like Adobe software, make some money with your skills, okay? And then in 2014, I kind of started in the end of like, well, not the end, like more than halfway through 2014, I was like, I'm going to do daily content now. So you can see where I started doing daily content, but you could also see where the growth happened. So I started doing daily content toward the end of 2014. And then, well, second half or second quarter. Then I went daily for sure in 2015 and daily in 2016. And you can see the results. And I ended up, this is the subscribers I added year after year. So you can see that, okay, I'm building up. And so after, from 2013 through 2016, after 3 years of, you know, working at this, and by making like, you know, close to 1,000 videos, I got to well over 100,000 subscribers. By the end of that year, I was closer to about 170,000, because this is how much subscribers I grew by, how many I gained after losses and all this stuff. So this is how much I grew by year over year. And so you can see that for me, upload frequency, because I do stuff that's education based. And back then, this was mostly freelancers. This was not how to grow a YouTube channel content. This was a concentration of freelancers. And I didn't actually start to pivot more into content creators roughly until about 2017. Now, also in 2017, I moved away from daily content. I also moved at the end of 2017. I figured out that I didn't need to do as much content. So I stopped uploading on the weekends pretty much. So that reduced the content a little bit to Monday through Friday for the most part. Okay. And then I figured out that I could get away with uploading like maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And so I still grew, but then I was like, okay, maybe 100 videos a year. And that was working out right until the pandemic. I could still grow by, you know, not quite 100,000 subscribers. I was like figuring out back then, it's like, I probably need to upload about 150 videos a year to grow by 100,000 a year consistently still. I don't need to be daily, but I need to be somewhere between 150 and 200 is what I figured out. Now, 2018, there's a glitch that happened in YouTube. So it deleted and re-uploaded the videos, which basically means that by 2018, I had done 1,500 videos up until then. It's not that I added a whole nother 1,500 videos. There's not 1,500 videos for me to add. So that's just a glitch in YouTube's reporting from way back in the day, back in my day, back in the day of YouTube, right? So that was like 6 years ago, 2018. Usually glitches for YouTube happen in October, by the way. And I see the chat and I see stuff. I'm going to answer super chats and questions. I'm just kind of like, I want to get through this part about helping you really understand how YouTube works with the uploads and why consistency matters. So look at these numbers and look at the consistency. So during the pandemic, I got really in my head and really depressed. And so I stopped uploading nearly as much. I barely uploaded. Now, remember, I'm someone who used to be a daily uploader, so you might still think that like 40 or 60 videos is a lot, but not for me. It's basically 100, 150 a year or bust, okay? That's how I'm supposed to kind of roll. Now, what happened in that situation was that in proportion to my uploads, that was the difference in growth. Now, I did get more into live streaming, but even with that, I wasn't consistent enough. So you can see that if it's like, you know, 60 or so videos in the year, that it was going to be about 30,000 subscribers. So if I did 150 videos in a year, on average, then that would probably be 150 is what I'd need to be able to hit about 100K new subscribers. Now, growing by 30, 40,000 subscribers in a year, still not bad at all, to be very honest with you. A lot of people will turn their nose up at that because they're going viral or they're making YouTube shorts, but I really only make long form content, as many of you know. And so you can see that really had more to do with the number of uploads. I wasn't even really necessarily about the number of, it wasn't necessarily about the number of views that I was getting determining my subscriber growth. Now, I also will show you, just so you can see it, like, you know, the difference in revenue. So the thing is, you know, even with less views, the ad revenue for me was going up. So it really was not the thing. And ad revenue is not really where I make my money on YouTube. It's sponsorships, like most full-time creators. It's sponsorships. Another harsh lesson. Most full-time creators, there's no point in bragging about AdSense. Most full-time creators don't make their money from AdSense. Most full-time creators make their money from sponsorship. AdSense comes later. Well, or it's not even later. AdSense comes first, but it's like it's a later priority. It's a lesser priority, I would say. Now, there are some niches and genres where people do all right with their AdSense or whatever. There's some outlier exceptions. Most YouTubers are working class creators. So most YouTubers work 40 hours a week. And even the full-time YouTubers who get to leave their 9-to-5 job and don't have to do 40 hours a week, then still find scraps of energy for content. A lot of those people, the only reason they got to go full-time was not because of AdSense. It was because they got sponsors or they got long-term sponsor contracts for 12 months that could replace their employment income. And then the AdSense was another income stream on top of that and was extra. So that gave them the guts to be able to go full-time because they knew that they could guarantee their income month to month with a long-term contract, because that would basically be like having a paycheck, having an employer again. So that's usually what happens. So right now, the big issue is I haven't been uploading as much this year. I'm much healthier, but I've had life stuff going on. But I'm doing okay because I'm uploading in terms of live streams, but I haven't been uploading regular videos. Regular videos grow my subscribers the most rather than live streams, but I'll still be more than okay with the direction things are going, because even with my live streams, some of them get over 100,000 views eventually. I've noticed a pattern with that. But I want to illustrate a point. If I were to make 6 times as many videos, which basically gets you to about almost to 150K, this 6,000 subscriber number, not as indicative of overall growth because it's more live streams than it is anything else. But if I uploaded 100 regular videos on top of doing live streams, then based on these numbers, I'd be doing really well again. I'd go back to like 75 to 100,000 new subscribers a month. And there is a plan to eventually do that. There is a plan to even try a daily 30-day blitz of uploading regular YouTube videos. I just have to work my way up to that and just make sure that it's right size in my life. And I actually like live streaming and podcasting better right now, to be honest, than editing videos. That's just where I am in life right now. But I wanted to show you this because I wanted to show you a history of what it's like to really just work your way up, truly from like being inactive and zero and not having an audience. You can see I didn't have like an audience because I wasn't uploading. I wasn't trying to do YouTube. But when I started trying and I started trying to be consistent, it's what really made the difference. And like I said, if you're new, ignore this 1,500 uploads. That's not real. What happened was there's a YouTube glitch. It like deleted and then it privated and then re-added all the videos in 2018. So that's what happened with that YouTube glitch. But again, for me, subscribers is always a result of uploading more. It doesn't matter how much better the videos get. It doesn't matter how much better they're edited. It's just upload more content, Roberto. And that's kind of how my channel works. In general, most of YouTube is quantity, and it is that. And a lot of people struggle with that. They listen to big YouTubers about quality over quantity. For most YouTubers, you cannot make high quality content like the big YouTubers are talking about, because if you're a working class creator, you just don't have the resources. So one of the harsh things I will tell you about YouTube is that it is very much a quantity game for most creators. The creators for which it is a quality game is an exception versus the rule, because the quality acceptable quality of something your audience is saying yes to, making more of that. Supply and demand, the supply and demand side of YouTube, that's real. The idea of the quality over quantity thing is, it's not that you're supposed to make absolute garbage. It's not that you're supposed to make garbage videos and upload them. It's that you're supposed to make videos that your audience said yes to. Then if they said yes to it, you are better off making 3x or 5x of something that they like than trying to make it better by 10 or 20%, because the thing is, getting 3x the opportunity is better than a 20% increase. Do you understand? 20-30% better quality is not going to defeat 300 times the quantity. It's just math. It's just math. I'll put it to you like this. Let's use finance. Let's use stocks. I want to teach you something. Would you rather have a 30% increase on your shares that you have right now, or continue getting 10% year over year, but have 3 times the amount of shares and keep compounding 10% year over year, but you're increasing the amount of shares you have by 3 times the amount of shares year over year as well? So think about that. Your options are, you could keep the same amount of shares, have 30% growth year over year, but the principal amount of money never changes, or you could have triple the amount of money, 10% gains, but the amount of money keeps increasing by 3x, or continues to double year over year. Do you understand? So quantity would be the thing that has the greater compounding, right? Quantity favors compounding. Most people don't understand that principle. YouTube is math, and it's supply and demand. So the thing is, it's better for me, even if I never increased my prices. What's better, increasing my prices or increasing my inventory? Well, if people are buying something, increasing my inventory yields more profit, right? So just posting more, if people are happy. Remember, I'm not saying post more garbage. Post more of what people want. Post more of what performs. If you post more of what performs, instead of trying to improve what performed, you would grow faster just by sheer logic and sheer math, because you just have more opportunities, more surface area, more inventory. So you have more swings. It is literally a numbers game. Once you get good, showing up every day would be better than becoming great for most people. For most people. Veteran Biker, hey, what's up, man? We actually did a call this week. So Veteran Biker says, hey, if you want a clear perspective on your channel, book a call with Roberto, worth every second. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and people can do that. I do have a link for my coaching in the description. I'll probably drop it in the chat here in a minute. But yeah, I also want to add another thing, is that YouTube pays you for all the views you get on all of your videos. It doesn't just pay you for the views on the latest video you upload. Most YouTubers are obsessed with how the video, and even viewers, they're like, how did the last video perform? The judgment on that is really silly, at least from a full-time income perspective, because YouTube pays you for every single view on your channel if you're monetized. So it doesn't matter if you watch a video of mine from 2 years ago or 2 weeks ago. YouTube pays me regardless. So why do I care about the views on my last upload? I've moved to a mental space where I don't. I just care about getting views for the channel regardless of what they watch. In fact, the majority of Mr. Beast views don't come from his newest content. It comes from his entire catalog. So if you want to even go off of big YouTubers, one thing they're not saying is they benefit from quantity too. Because if you ask a big YouTuber, would they only rather make money on their latest upload, or would they rather make money from their back catalog? Everyone that's not full of it will tell you, make money from my back catalog. So wait a minute. So even from a monetary standpoint, quantity would matter more than quality, because there's more opportunity to get more views from more types of people, because not everyone will like the same video. So just from a mathematical perspective, sub growth favors uploading more videos. And subscriber growth favors uploading more videos, and monetization favors uploading more videos. Linking to your own products favors more videos. Making money from affiliate links like Amazon's affiliate program favors uploading more videos and using your community tab. So posting more. Everything favors posting more except for one vanity metric: views per upload. If you care about views per upload and latest view on your latest video, meaning if you are vain and egotistical and you just want to look like you deserve clout, then views per upload, average views per upload, view to subscriber ratio, all that nonsense matters to you if you care about ego. But if you care about money and if you care about growth, then it's literally a numbers game. The other thing that makes view to subscriber ratio irrelevant is that thing became irrelevant the day that YouTube Shorts was invented. View to subscriber ratio is meaningless now that YouTube Shorts is invented, which is why less and less people care about it and take it seriously. Because the minute you go, hey, what's going on with this channel? And then you click on the Shorts tabs, you go, oh, Shorts. Oh, not even thinking about that anymore. Okay. Because like, think about it. People used to try to use view to subscriber ratio to say, hey, is the channel dying? Is the channel legitimate? How many views are you getting with this subscriber count? Now that there's YouTube Shorts, you can't even go off of that. It doesn't matter at all. It never mattered, really. Not from YouTube, from an algorithm standpoint. I talked to the engineers. They said it didn't matter to begin with. But now we really can't even take view to subscriber ratios seriously because YouTube Shorts exist. And that just makes nonsense out of the whole thing. And even YouTube Shorts proves that quantity wins. YouTube Shorts proves that quantity wins. The easiest way to grow a YouTube channel now is to upload 3 YouTube Shorts a day. And channels who do that for 2 to 3 years are almost guaranteed, in many cases, to grow significantly. So, it is what it is. So the Game Master LLC says, harsh advice is needed sometimes. Can't wait for what gems are in store. Appreciate you. Crazy Corner says, hope all is well with you and yours now. Yeah, it's better now. So thank you. Everyone is, well, at least everyone here is fine. So thank you for that. Leroy Turback. Hey, what's up, Leroy? Just here to appreciate you, legend of the game. Yeah, absolutely. You say tried StreamYard, but limited, switch to OBS. Any thoughts? It depends on how technical you want to be. Most people are not technical, so they don't use OBS. That's why they prefer StreamYard. Like my sister could probably use StreamYard. My mother could use StreamYard, but they would be lost if they try to use OBS. My younger brother can use OBS. So like we're the techie ones. So like part of my gauge for simplicity is, okay, can my mother use this? Can your grandmother use this? If not, then maybe it's too technical, too complicated. But speaking of StreamYard, that actually gives me the opportunity to shout out our sponsors. So we have a couple sponsors here. Our good friends over at StreamYard are why I can stream to you on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube.com, Twitch.com, X.com, formerly Twitter, and even Kick.com. We're going to be adding, for me at least, we're going to add 2 or 3 more platforms to my lineup. I am literally trying to post everywhere except for TikTok on the way out. So yeah, I'm trying to post everywhere. So StreamYard helps me do that with live streaming. So link in the description down below if you want a free trial of StreamYard. Simple, easy to use, nothing to download. Same for our friends at OpusClip. OpusClip, once again, nothing to download, easy to use. OpusClip is helping me repurpose. So as long as these streams end up being less than 3 hours, I can easily repurpose them. It's going to extend it. We're going to get to have 4-hour plus clips soon with OpusClip. But OpusClip, who's another one of our sponsors and who I'm also helping the product team improve the product, is a great AI clipping tool that helps you curate and clip your videos, not just your live streams, not just your podcast, not just talking head videos, but basically all of your content. And you can cut it up and you can get YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikToks if you want. But you could also get widescreen clips and use that. I'm going to be uploading more to my clips channel soon, Roberto Blake highlights. And so my goal is to clip these live streams and then upload 3 highlights a day from my live streams on that YouTube channel to make it easier for people to find nuggets and content that they want. We're also going to be doing timestamps here eventually on some of these as I go back over the weekend. So shout out to OpusClip. And finally, our friends at Kajabi. Kajabi is helping me build a 6-figure business off platform. A lot of you saw in the analytics that I had that pesky invalid traffic issue with YouTube. AdSense is not guaranteed. Monetization on YouTube can be a problem with these kind of issues, but that's why I sell my own digital products, including $9 products and even $99 products, plus my coaching calls and my Academy Pro group. And I host that all with Kajabi, where I don't have to split 70-30 with YouTube and give them 30% and then Uncle Sam another 20 after the fact. So shout out to our friends over at Kajabi for sponsoring today's video. So yeah, also another harsh truth for y'all, whatever you make on YouTube, just remember you're splitting money with the platform. So whatever it is, memberships, super chats, whatever it is, you're splitting with the platform. That's 70-30. Your ad revenue split is 55-45. If you're doing other content platforms, some of them aren't as generous as YouTube. Then when that revenue sharing split is over, just remember 20 to 30% of what's left, you split it with Uncle Sam. If you live in the United States of America, you're splitting it with the government. Some of you in other countries, it's worse than that. So just kind of position yourself accordingly. Another harsh thing for you is don't let people, as long as you're being straightforward, you're being honest about things, you're being ethical, don't let people try to guilt you out of making money as a content creator or tell you how privileged you are, any of that. Because one, they don't know how hard it is. They don't know about all the 60-hour weeks that you put in to go full time. They don't know about the stress. And they damn sure probably don't know about the fact that you have to split 30% of your revenue sometimes with these platforms, sometimes 50%. Then you have to pay 20, 30, some of y'all 50% in taxes after the fact. So don't let them sit there and guilt trip you or beat you down or tell you about your own business, or don't let them pocket watch you and be wanting to put their eyes in your wallet when they didn't put any money there. Okay. It's not cool, and don't let it bother you, and don't listen to people, and don't be afraid to sell anything and be called a sellout or greedy or a shill. Don't even let that get into your head, because until someone steps in the arena and they become a content creator and they take it seriously and they do it for more than a hobby, they really don't get to comment on what you're doing if you decide that you want to be a full-time content creator. Because if you want to be full-time, it's not the same as doing it for a hobby. It's not even close. There's nothing wrong with doing it for a hobby. Hobby creators are fine. Usually my streams aren't geared toward the hobby creator. It's towards somebody who might be doing it for a hobby, who wants to go full-time and actually is ready to admit that they want to be a full-time creator. A lot of people can't admit that they want to be a full-time creator. They're a little embarrassed by it, or they don't think it's going to happen. So they try to talk themselves down and try to seem humble, like, oh, that'd just be cool if it happens, because they're scared of how people would react and that people will clown them for wanting to be full-time. It's sad. It's not a respected profession, but here's the funny thing. I was a graphic design major back in the day, and ultimately I did become a graphic designer. Some of you remember that from my early freelance content, right? When I targeted freelancers and before I crossed over to creators. What happened back then was, in 2000 and 2002, being a web designer wasn't considered a real job either. Being a web designer, believe it or not, was not considered a real job. Can you imagine the last 10 years, a business being taken seriously without having a website? Do any of you really even take a business seriously today if it doesn't have a website? Before, if you had a website but not a brick and mortar, you wouldn't be taken seriously at all. But the thing is, things changed, and I was clowned by my professors. I told them that within 10 years that every company in America would want and need a website, and they clowned me and publicly in front of the classroom and embarrassed me. And I told them, just wait, give it 10, 15 years. Every company in America will want and need a website to be taken seriously. And I was right. Just like I also told them that within 10, 15 years, there'd be no difference between a computer and a television. They clowned me for that too, said I was arrogant. I told them that the print industry was dying, and instead of teaching us to do newspaper advertising, they should teach us digital banner ads and new media. They laughed at me for that too. 3 predictions, all right, within a 10-year period when I was a young college student. And I was right about anything. And it's not that I just have this Nostradamus ability to predict the future. It's that if any of you have been paying attention, I look at data and I live in the digital world. I live in the digital plane. And just like how I bring up my YouTube analytics, I study the data. I study the user behavior. I study the data and patterns over time. And I just run the numbers, which is why I also know that YouTube is a numbers game, is that I look at it. And I don't just look at my data. I look at data on other channels that I've managed. I look at data from all the creators that I've coached. I've personally one-on-one coached hundreds of creators, maybe as many as 600 plus creators at this point. We have over 3,000 customers in Awesome Creator Academy, and many of them have submitted survey data on their YouTube channels. And I've personally done thousands of channel reviews right here on live streams when I was doing monthly channel reviews over the years. And on top of that, I've met thousands of creators one-on-one that I don't work with and that I didn't take money from, and seen the back end of their YouTube channels, thousands of them over the last 12 years. So what I would tell you about that is that overwhelming amount of data gives me a lot of perspective. And since ChatGPT over about the last 2 years, I've also been using the YouTube API, public API, to scrape and organize data using that as a tool. And I also have the advanced access that I pay $50 a month, I think, or $6 a month to Social Blade to get advanced high-level reports from them where I can aggregate and scrape data using their tools. So I've looked at this and I've studied this a lot. And what it revealed to me was just certain patterns that emerged. And then I studied it by verticals, not necessarily niches, but category verticals. There's 15 of them for YouTube. And in my coaching, I've actually grown one channel at least minimum in every one of the 15 category verticals, which are also the advertising verticals. I worked in advertising, as some of you might recall. The 15 category verticals, I've grown at least one channel in each of those to a silver play button in YouTube, some of them to gold. So when I look at things like that, I can see exactly, to some degree, what the future might hold for us based on past performance predicts future outcome. Because compound interest is real. Habits and trends and patterns add up, and they have usually a logical, reasonable conclusion. And so it's not really hard to do the appropriate educated guess to say, this is likely to happen, or this cycle is likely to repeat itself. And so when you just kind of accustom yourself to being, I believe something because of what the evidence says is most likely to happen versus what I wish were true, this doesn't become hard to figure out. There are times where as an artist, you'll wish that quality over quantity tended to be true. It is true for some people, the minority of them, exceptions that don't disprove the rule. For the far majority, it's quantity. For example, it's consistency. And then there is some things that go to like intuition. You know, Right Mix for Business by Sue-Ann says, Roberto, your insights are so beyond just the data and YouTube. Just saying, not surprised you were soaking in the knowledge as early as a young college kid. Oh yeah, even as a teenager. That's why as a teenager, I was doing graphic design as a teenager before high school was over. I was on the school web design team in high school. I helped build the school's website. I was doing video editing before YouTube ever existed in high school. I was making anime music videos back in the day of Real Player and WMV files, ASF files, that sort of thing back in the days of like Otaku Vengeance and websites like that. We were doing Angel Fire and GeoCities to host the music videos back then, and Lycos and things like that. We were posting in Excite forums, IRC chats, AOL, all of those things back in the day. Back in my day, back in the olden days, AOL. You know, so we were doing that kind of thing. So I was really into the internet very young age. I taught myself how to code HTML at 13. So I was immersed in the new media landscape very, very early in the beginning, before social media manifested itself. You know, by the way, thanks, Kia. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're watching elsewhere, we have about 436 of you watching across all platforms right now. So thank you, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, formerly Twitter, Kick.com, Twitch.com, wherever you're at. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Duncan Brazil, for watching on LinkedIn. Says, I remember following you from YouTube a bit back. Yep, absolutely. Yep, good to see you as well. So yeah, there's a lot. But we have a question from Jaden, and Clover as answering that as well. Let's see. I'm going to try to circle back here in the chat. So we have some people said, yeah, I've talked myself out of it a bunch. Yeah, you can talk yourself out of YouTube pretty easily. Let's see. Yep, OpusClip and Kajabi for the win. Yep, really appreciate you moderating the chat, Clover. Megaman14 says, hey, Roberto, which microphone would you recommend, the Shure MV7 or Elgato Wave 3? So it depends. For convenience, maybe the Elgato Wave 3. It is also cheaper. But for quality, the Shure MV7. I use Shure microphones. I've used the MV7, the SM7B, the SM7DB, and excuse me, I think there's like an MV7X as well that I think I've used. So yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Comic Book Installer says, what about news content? How do you keep that relevant longer since news dies? Sometimes if you're doing news, you have to lean into not just breaking news, but you have to also capitalize on established narratives or continuing sagas that people feel emotionally invested in. So that's something you have to think about, is sometimes it's not just breaking news. Sometimes it's also prevailing narratives, and you can capitalize on that, and you can do commentary. So that's how they do it now in a 24/7 media cycle. In a 24/7 media cycle, they don't always have relevant new like headlines. So what they do is they do commentary, which leads into them dealing with prevailing narratives and not just breaking news, which again has been unfortunate for the rest of us consumers. We got a Wild Rose here. Thank you for the $8.88 super chat. I have a question with glitches. My views literally get deleted like daily. Have you ever heard of this? Any suggestions as to what to do? I've not heard of this before, but I would definitely reach out to Team YouTube on x.com, formerly Twitter. You might even want to get in touch with somebody from chat support if your channel's monetized. And I would run them down on that and see what's going on. You could also run an experiment, open up a new channel, upload some videos there and see if the same thing happens, just to see if it's an account issue. It would suck if it's an account issue, but it can be that. Clever Tax says, no questions, just my awesome dues to say thanks for all you do. Hopefully people take your harsh advice to heart instead of to offense. That's how they win. Yep, I agree. Appreciate you. Yeah, quality takes time. Absolutely. So I definitely am one of the people who believes that if you do quantity, it will lead to quality, because that's true in working out. That's true in health and fitness. That's true in martial arts. That's true in good dieting. So I just believe that consistency of the right things matters a lot more. I think it's more important to be consistent than to just knock it out of the park whenever you happen to feel like it. Yeah, more videos gives you a better shot at something taking off. So it's just more opportunities. It's more at-bats. The more you play, the more you win. That's always true, by the way. In everything in life, the more shots you take, the more of them actually hit. So it doesn't matter. The problem with YouTube and social media as a whole, and this is where I get some pushback from people until I explain it. Social media and YouTube highlight the 0.1% to an absurd degree. Outliers are overrepresented in social media, whether that's successful creators, billionaires. It's thrown in your face over and over and over and over again. Why? Because the majority of people want that success. They aspire to that. So they keep throwing outlier high performers at you to the point where you feel like nothing. You feel like absolute scum. You feel like a loser because all you see is these people winning 10 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times more than you over and over as if everybody can do it. But what's happening is they're selling the best of the catalog. And the best of the catalog is the top 1%. Is the top 1%. 9 to 5 Google did an article and they broke down the statistics of YouTube. They did this right before YouTube Shorts during the pandemic. And the numbers are probably the same or worse now, even with YouTube Shorts. But what 9 to 5 Google found and what Pex.com, when they did a data study, found is that 88% of all the videos that have been uploaded to YouTube up until 2020, all the videos up until then, 88% of them never crossed 1,000 views. So think about this. From 2005, from 2005 to 2020, 88% of everything uploaded to YouTube never got 1,000 views on it. 88%. They found that less than 2% of videos ever got 10,000 views. Less than 1% ever got to 100,000 views, and only about 0.6% ever got more than 1 million views on YouTube. I think it was like 0.06% or something close to that. Or was it like 0.06 or 0.08? So it was like, I have the notes somewhere for that. I memorized the other stats. But it was some absurd thing, right? Now, I'll take that further for you. Did you know that there are 100 million YouTube channels worldwide? The CEO of YouTube said that only 3 million YouTube channels are in the YouTube Partner Program. So only 3% of all the creators who've ever tried to do YouTube ever got monetized on YouTube. That's insane. By the way, that's with them lowering the Partner Program threshold to 500 subscribers. So I want you to think about that. There's 100 million channels worldwide. Social Blade only tracks about 70 million of the channels. Social Blade's only tracking 70 million of the channels. There's 100 million worldwide. Only 3% are monetized. Well, Roberto, we only will care about active channels, so we'll go with the Social Blade number. Okay, well, you're still at less than 6% of all channels monetized then. So it's still less than 10. So it's less than 6, it's less than 10 if you don't want to go with the extreme, which is 3. Okay? But I would go with the 3%. But if you want to be optimistic, fine, let's be optimistic. It's like 6% or less of channels. That's still less than 10% of all people. So just to get monetized, okay? Now let's take that further. Okay, if there's 70 million to 100 million YouTube channels, did you know not even 1 million of them have silver play buttons like me at 100,000 subscribers? Not everyone has a silver play button award, okay? The Academy members are starting to rack some of them up, so I'm collecting copies of them and putting them in the bookcase there is becoming a trophy case instead. So what happens is, and I think I have the numbers because we did an article for it for awesomecreatoracademy.com, which ranks #1 on YouTube for this search, by the way. So we did the numbers, and we broke down how many channels have 1 million subscribers. And I ranked #1 in Google for this. And we also have the data on how many channels have 10 million subscribers. So I'm going to post it in chat. How many channels have 10 million subscribers? You can also search for it if you want. And I'll be the #1 search. But we have it here. So I've linked to it in the chat. If I remember, we'll add it to the description for people watching the replay. But if I go and I look at, the numbers here. And we broke this down. And I also have some numbers on some of the categories. But we have a breakdown of overall channels in YouTube. And these are rough approximations. This was as of January. I think in my other article, I have the February or March numbers. But the overwhelming majority of channels, like it's less than 600,000 channels for sure that have even a silver play button. And then it's less than 60,000 or so channels that have a gold play button. So being successful on YouTube and having over 100,000 is still incredibly rare. For the United States of America, it's still less than 70,000 play buttons in the United States of America. by my calculations, it's still about less than 160,000 English-speaking channels in the country, in the globe, around the globe, that have silver play buttons. So out of 100 million, mind you, out of 100 million. So we were talking 1% category. We're talking 1%. We're talking less than 1%. So if we go to the article I have on a million subscribers and we go through some stats, 90% never get to 10,000 subscribers. We know that. Less than 6% by the most conservative estimate end up in the partner program. 3 million monetized. Less than 550,000 play buttons globally. 88% of views 88% of videos not getting 1,000 views. Less than 65,000 channels in the US have 100,000 subscribers. Less than 55,000 worldwide have 1 million subscribers. India has the most play buttons. We are on our way to 10 channels having 100 million subscribers once the WWE gets theirs. There are over 2.6 billion. I think it's about 2.64 billion users worldwide. YouTube Shorts getting 50 billion views per day. 70% of traffic coming from mobile devices. 60% of content produced in English is produced in English, but not necessarily consumed in English. Only about 30% is consumed in English. And YouTube generating on average about 30 billion in revenue, but not profit. Revenue, not profit. So there you go. And then 100,000 to 1 million views is less than 1%. 10,000 to 100,000 views, 1.9%. And 1,000 to 10,000 views is roughly 9.3%, but the overwhelming majority not getting 88%. So boom goes the dynamite, and there in the article are all of my sources. So boom goes the dynamite. And so there you have it. YouTube is hard, ladies and gentlemen. By the data, by the numbers, it is exceedingly hard and very difficult, but it's not contingent on luck. One of the problems is that it's not contingent on luck. It's supply and demand economics for total addressable markets across verticals. It's outlier theory. There's a big part of that. And there's a thing called pre-selection bias, and big numbers beget big numbers. The majority of views on YouTube are concentrated to the top 3% of channels. 90% of all views on YouTube are concentrated to the top 3% of all channels. So that means that there's pre-selection bias toward famous YouTubers and bigger channels, but also there's pre-selection bias in the sense that the majority of content is viewed internationally. The majority of views, over 70% of views, are non-English speaking. I think my friend Daryl Eves said that it's actually closer to 80% non-English speaking now because of the growth of the Indian market, which has the most play buttons by far, the most users and viewers daily by far, and it's not even close. And then they highly also are consuming shorts content. So the overall majority of viewership is outside of America, with the largest market being India. It's mostly non-English speaking viewers on YouTube. The English Western market of YouTube is probably under 30% now and shrinking, and it's shrinking. So there is that. However, the abundance of content is produced in English, but the amount of consumers is less. The reason is ad revenue. So, Spade says, honestly, genius mindset, seeing each video more like an investment. Oh yeah, every video is absolutely an investment. I see it that way for sure. Dan says, even old videos are often interesting to me from the perspective of what were people thinking in these moments. Absolutely. I think there's some validity to that. So yeah, I'm just catching up on chat with you guys. Yeah, we covered what microphones I like. Tenif says, this is why I love your content, Roberto. You tell it like it is. I try to. And again, I try to look at data. A Wild Rose says, I ask about views because as a small channel, I understand the psychology behind views. People look at channels with views. They don't look at channels with no views. So even if they like small channels, not necessarily true. So what people actually click on, there is a subset of the market that cares about views and subscribers. It's the younger audience that you're thinking of. And that's because the younger people are the majority of viewers of YouTube. Why? Because they have the most time to waste and they have the least amount of money and they're broke kids. They're kids. Like young people watch YouTube. The largest consumer base of YouTube is middle schoolers, basically. So I don't really care about that. So if you're talking about the psychology of people who click on something because it has more views, because they have more subscribers, most of that is the younger market. I'll tell you the honest truth. Demographics, and I just actually talked to a YouTube channel that's almost to 300,000 subscribers that just coached with me. So I just got off a coaching call before this. Part of the reason I pushed back to 7:30 tonight was I went a few minutes over with a nearly 300,000 subscriber channel that's doing really well. They're averaging 50 to 100,000 views per upload. They're uploading, consistently. They're doing extremely well. So when I talked to Mandy and her husband, Steve, tonight, one of the things we really leaned into was psychology. And the thing is, even with their subscriber base, the thing is people don't click on something because they have more views. They click on it because they identify with the content. Now, with these creators, they're doing really great. And 50% of their views come from their subscribers. No, actually, it's closer to 60% of their views come from non-subscribers. It's like 58, so I just rounded to 60. And 40% come from subscribers. So 40% subscribers, 60% non-subscribers, 60-40, right? And they're doing really well. They're doing fantastic. I won't give you all the numbers, but they're doing well over $100,000 a year just in AdSense alone. And when I talked to them, one of the big things we focused on was psychology. Now, the overwhelming majority of their audience, 80% of their audience is women over 35. When we looked at their data, 80% of their audience is women over 35. And it's an 80-20 split on male to female audience, but overwhelmingly their audience is over 35. Their biggest concentration of audience is over 45, is the biggest lion's share of their audience is over 45. So their content focuses around cooking meals, pantry videos, and meal prep, and easy and affordable recipes. Okay? Everyone's got to eat. So huge total addressable market. And, the women watching these videos identify with Mandy, and they also really like Mandy's husband, Steve. So there's this really great community that was not being served because since the majority of people chase the teenagers, the tweens, and the 20-something-year-olds, there was this entire segment of women over 35, couples and families over 35, elder millennials, and Gen Xers that really enjoy cooking simple meals, eating as a family, stocking up in their pantry, trying to beat inflation, trying to feed their family. There was this entire market that nobody was really competing for that they do extremely well with, extremely well. And it's because they like the content, but they come back because they identify with and enjoy Mandy specifically. And they also like her husband now that he's more involved with the content, now that he's gone full time with the channel as well, instead of just doing a 9-to-5 job. So what we click on is not just a in-group bias or an authority bias of, oh, big channel must watch. Most of the time we click on content that partly, one, serves us from a interest or utility standpoint, but a lot of it has to do with who we identify with. So you click on videos mostly around the concepts of utility, identity, and from there are different biases you use to filter and pre-select videos. So pre-selection bias plays a role, in-group bias plays a role, identity plays a role, utility plays a role. So when you want views, you have to figure out the psychological frame that you're using to attract views. There's also the visual aspect of just getting attention and standing out. Once you get attention, then the filter starts with bias, identity, authority, these things, social proof. So familiarity bias is where big YouTubers win. Big YouTubers win not just because, oh, they have views, they have subs. It's because I've seen that face before. It's familiarity bias. But I won on familiarity bias by making a bunch of content for similar people every single day for almost 3 years. So I flooded the market with thumbnails with my face in them around a specific range of videos that my target audience avatar would absolutely watch and search for and click on, to where they bloody couldn't escape from me. I was unavoidable and inevitable. And then I got the content level to where it was undeniable that I knew I was talking about. So it was unavoidable, inevitable, and undeniable. And so there was no escaping me. If you like searched on a video for graphic design, there was no escaping me. If you searched for a video on Photoshop, there was no escaping me. I ran you down until I wore you into the ground and you just said, I give up. I subscribe, Roberto. Like, I'm wearing you down, baby. Like, I that's what I did. I just basically aggressively showed up. And as a result, familiarity bias. You see someone talk about the same thing enough times, eventually you give it a shot. You realize you actually might resonate with them, identify with them, like what they have to say, put it to use, see that it's getting you results, you're stuck with them then. So like that's how it is. So even as a small channel, I used and leveraged what I learned in advertising and marketing about target markets, human behavior, conditioning, familiarity, habit building, and I used just enough of that, even in the early days of figuring out YouTube, to win. And that's how I got to 100,000 subscribers after 3 years, but I also did it with an aggressive amount of content. You could do it more intentionally than me if you know how, and you could improve the skill level, and it wouldn't take you 800 to 1,000 videos. That's kind of normal. But if you actually know what you're doing and you learn these things faster and you narrow in on your audience faster, because most people, they squander hundreds of videos on experimental phase before they figure out what they're good at. Most people, they come to YouTube, they're not particularly good at anything, or they don't think they are. They make a couple hundred videos as a hobbyist, feeling themselves out. They jump from niche to niche. They make 400 videos before they ever figure out what they're actually good at. Then it starts, and then it clicks. And then if they keep going, they make, a total of 700 videos, and then they figured it out, and then something happens. That's what happens for most small creators. So, it's just how it tends to work. And that's okay, because most working class creators, they're doing YouTube initially as a hobby to escape. And so when you're trying to escape, you're not really optimizing for what works or what an audience really cares about. You're doing stuff to try to feel better, feel good, or get out of your 9-to-5 job. At least mentally get out of your 9-to-5 job, but you're not thinking about financially doing it yet. That's a wish. It's a nice to have. That's how it starts out for most people. That's common. Very few YouTubers start out intentionally with the goal of being a full-time content creator. And the ones who do, they take it very seriously. And there's specific things that they try to do to get an advantage. So, that's what works. Terrell Shea says, Roberto, I love the data. I literally been trying to get out uploads based on your 100K views insight. So thank you for sharing. What was the last screen share from your analytics? Which section graph? So if you were looking at the analytics, which I can bring back here, to get to the thing where I was doing the time charting for analytics, it was that I went with advanced mode. Then I went into videos by date range. In my case, I chose videos added by date range. You can also see subscribers gained by date range there, and views by date range, and so on and so on. So you get a lot of data that way. So if you were looking for that, that's how you get to that. What this person's also talking about with the 100K views insight is that to get monetized on YouTube, my theory is you need 100,000 views in a year. But there's specific criteria. I broke it down in my how to get 4,000 watch hours video and my how to get 100,000 subscribers video. But the short version of the theory is if we target 100,000 views and we convert 1% of that to being subscribers, we've got our 1,000 subscribers. So we're definitely monetized at that point. But also we need to get 240,000 watch minutes to get the 4,000 watch hours, because 4,000 times 60 minutes is 240,000. So basically 250,000 minutes. So to get our 250,000 minutes, what we do is we target getting 300,000 minutes, because then we have overkill in case some of them are ineligible. So how do we get that overkill? Well, that means that we have to get 100,000 views with an average view duration of 3 minutes. Now, across the platform, the average view retention percentage, or average percentage viewed per video, is about 30%. So we need to make videos between 9 minutes and 12 minutes, and then get people to watch at least 30% of them to guarantee that we're going to reach our numbers for watch minutes, since we know that, okay, well, if we make it 3 times bigger than the number we need, we kind of got it locked in. So we get the 3 minutes average, we get 100,000 views, that's 300,000 minutes. So that's definitely enough, because that's 5,000 watch hours. So we absolutely qualify. We crush our goal there. And if we get 1% of 100K views to turn into subscribers, we got our 1,000 subscribers there. And my best method for it is statistically just uploading 100 to 150 videos in a year, which is basically 2 to 3 uploads a week. So if you accomplish that, then you hit goal. The way you do that is you get good enough at making high enough quality videos that only take you 2 to 5 hours to make round trip. The reason you're doing that is if you're not monetized, then you're a working class creator, because you probably work 40 hours a week. All you've got is the scraps of spare energy left. You worked a 9-to-5 job. You still got to come home and take care of yourself. You got things to do. So reasonably, a working class creator could only probably have 10 to 20 hours a week to make content. So if you're going to do that and have to try to learn YouTube and have to learn your video editing software and learn to make thumbnails and do all of this, you can only reasonably, if you want a 2 to 3 video upload cadence, do videos that take 2 to 5 hours to finish. So you have to get reasonable about your standard of quality and accept that you need consistency instead of quality, and that the quality will incrementally get better over time. So this is my most realistic version of how to get monetized in 1 year and meet the requirements, because it takes into account the realistic circumstances of working a 9-to-5 job, the realistic circumstances of still needing time to learn YouTube and learn your software and improve your skills and get better on camera. And it gives you the most reasonable hedge for doing that. And it tells you how long the videos that you make have to be. And it tells you a target collective 12-month view rate to get, and that the videos have to be good enough in quality to convert 1% of views to subscribers. So it literally leaves nothing to chance except telling you what bloody video to make in the first place. And for that, I do have advice on that, but it depends on what niche you are, what goals you have, what skills you bring to the table, all those things. So, that's kind of the short version of it. Savvy Tech Tip says, what's your thought about posting a short and long form content the same day? I don't have a problem with it. Different algorithm, different consumer, even different traffic sources for those things. I have no issue with it. In an ideal world where you had unlimited time and unlimited resources, you'd be posting 3 shorts a day, 1 video a day, and doing 1 live stream a week. Not joking. If you had the perfect scenario and unlimited resources, you'd be posting 3 YouTube shorts a day, you'd be posting 1 video a day long form, and you'd be doing 1 live stream a week. Yeah, it's like that. In a perfect world. Like I said, unlimited resources. Arnie Atulson says, do I have to niche down to a repair channel? Can I combine car repair and small engines for lawnmower example? So it depends on whether you're a mechanic channel or not. Like, what you have to do is you have to figure out, who do you serve? See, a lot of you are resisting niching down because you don't understand it. Niching down is about, who are my people? And what do I offer to them, and how can I be consistent? And a lot of you are still, to some degree, not all of you, but a lot of you are resisting this. Because the thing is, you want it to all be about you and people to like really come for you. And I understand that. But what really needs to happen is you have to niche down and you have to really figure out your ikigai. But the reality is the market wants what it wants. If I came to you and all right, because here's the thing, you can make whatever content you want, but I'll just watch your old videos that I like, and I won't watch your newest content because it's not about subject matter that works for me. Because we don't really, as much as people say otherwise, 90% of us are not subscribing for the creator. We're subscribing for the content. So the thing is, the content is either for us or it's not. If you make a topic, even if I like your content, but I don't like the topic, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to put myself through 10 or 20 minutes of content that alienates me, doesn't serve me, doesn't interest me, or pisses me off just for you to get a view and feel supported. I'm not going to do that. And 90% of your audience is not going to do that. So that's why the other reason that view to subscriber ratios are nonsense is because, one, subscribers don't get every upload put in front of them. Subscribers get videos put in front of them, whether they're subscribed or not from YouTube. And as viewers, you all know it. You know it to be true. If all y'all went to your YouTube homepage feed after this and you scrolled, you'll find that 80% of the content, you never subscribed to it. So YouTube does not show videos just because you subscribe to somebody. It shows it based off its ability to predict what you care about. So if someone uploads what you care about, they will watch. So you have to make your choices about what content you're making according to that. People sometimes, and this is not you, Arnie, but like a lot of people, they'll ask me this question about niching down because they're asking for permission from an authority to do the thing that they want to do, or they're asking for someone to tell them what to do or what not to do. You have to make a choice based on your understanding of the consequences. So all I'm really telling you all is here's the psychology. Here's how people think. Here's how people behave. Here's how you behave. And here's the data that shows how you and people like you or people in general behave. Now, if people behave that way and we're not aligned with how our audience behaves or how our desired audience behaves, we won't get the results that we always want. And it has nothing to do with how good our videos are, how hard we try, or how nice we are. One of the proofs of this is, so like 2 years ago, I made a video, 3 videos in a row. I made 3 videos in a row, uploaded them 3 days in a row. How to get 100 subscribers, how to get 1,000 subscribers, how to get 10,000 subscribers. The 1,000 subscriber video got 100,000 views. The other ones got, like, one of them got 30,000, one of them got 20,000. The videos were filmed in the same day. The videos were filmed with the same lighting, same audio, same background. No difference in quality whatsoever. The thumbnails were all designed similarly, but different enough, but the same standard, same fonts, same style. So the thumbnails didn't decide it. The quality of the videos didn't decide it. What decided the views? The topic decided the views, and the topic was conveyed through the title. And the title was about what you want, but also from a perception standpoint, how easy it to get. Why were there more people wanting to get 1,000 subscribers than 100 subscribers? Because most people were able to get to 100 without help. So just a smaller market. 10,000 seems too far-fetched for the majority of people that can't get to 1,000 subscribers. So if that's the case, that's why the 1,000 subscriber video got more views than the 10,000 subscriber video. So in an experiment where all the videos had the same standard of quality, same quality of thumbnail, all things being equal, the topic itself qualified or disqualified them because of what felt attainable to them or what they already had or what they wanted but felt within reach. So the market size, total addressable market, market cap, market fit, this decides how many views you get. This decides how many views you get. It is that simple. Now, we dilute some of that to a degree when we condition an audience of our returning viewers to expect something and then we don't deliver or we pivot or we code switch on them. Wait, why are you acting different? Why are you giving me something different? I got used to this. That's what happens. So again, it's not me that you have to ask permission for anything. It's not even your audience that you have to ask permission to do something. You have to accept that there are consequences for potentially fragmenting your audience's attention and that sometimes you might try to get collective audience and saying, I want group A and I want good group B. Well, maybe group A and group B don't get along and they fight like cats and dogs. So you have to really consider your intent behind what you're doing and what the intent of the viewer is. And if that's a mismatch, you're going to feel it and you're going to see it. So I hope that to some degree that this answers your question. We got a couple more super chats. We've got a $5 super chat from For the 20. Thank you. Is there a way to build a brand deal with a company that excludes a website shout out or link due to us, the company, already selling their products? I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but if you already sell the products, are you saying that you're already a competitor to the company, or that you're already an affiliate that sells their products and gets a commission? And if that's the case, I still don't fully understand this question. Here's what I will say to best answer this question, even though I don't fully understand it. In general, with brand deals, you can negotiate almost any deal you want if they're open to it and if it makes sense from a standpoint of what their goals are. So you have to ask companies, hey, what are you trying to accomplish? Is your biggest goal that you want awareness of your offer? Is it that you want to reach a different market than you've been reaching, a new group of people who doesn't understand what you offer? Do you want somebody to represent the audience, and do you want representation? Do you want somebody to be a great ambassador to say, here's my story, here's how I use the product, here's a demo, this is great, look at me, go? Or is it that you want somebody that's a salesperson, that's got salesmanship, that can just convert direct traffic? You know, you got to really figure out what a brand and company wants. Then you structure what your offer is based around the outcome that they desire and your capacity and ability to perform. And so that's how we would want to approach it. World According to Briggs, thank you, my man, for the $50 super chat. So World According to Briggs says, 9% of my viewers are in the US and over 70% of them are 50 years old or older. Like, nice. So again, they're complete underserved groups of people because everyone is trying to capitalize and fight over the younger viewers. But there are plenty of other viewers that just aren't served when people do that and get ignored. And so that's a blue ocean that people could be competing in instead of, you know, a red ocean. There might be very little competition if you pivot to another direction. The audience may not be as big, but you could be a monopoly. You could have a monopoly. And I believe in building and monetizing monopolies, to be honest with you. As a content creator, it's a philosophy that I've seen work time and time again, is what if I go to this audience that's a monopoly because everyone else is ignoring them? What if I do a point of view that feels underrepresented? I've saw creators, even this year, that had less than 10,000 subscribers get to 100,000 subscribers by just hard pivoting to, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud, and I'm going to represent people who don't feel they're getting their point of view across, and I'm going to be their mouthpiece. And then all of a sudden, they started getting views and subscribers and support. And it was just like, you know, it's very eye-opening to see that kind of thing. So some of you are asking about the coaching link. It's awesomecreatoracademy.com. I'm going to send the link just specifically for the coaching instead of for the group membership, the pro group. But you can definitely check out the pro group if you want, awesomecreatoracademy.com. But here is the coaching info if you want to work one-on-one with me. So I just dropped it in the chat. Also should be in the description of the video. So yeah, so also Melanin, I just sent the info on the coaching link. Let's see. Katie Ukulele says, my favorite thing from your book is that the internet took 30 years to be seen as a viable way to make money. Yeah, absolutely. For those interested in my book, it is Create Something Awesome, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. I think it's linked in the description, but if you go to robertoblake.com and scroll down, you'll definitely see an Amazon link for the book. So yeah. Yes, videos typically are the best way to grow a channel, not necessarily live streams. Live streams can do well, but videos are the best way to grow. Even I see more growth when I upload videos, even if they seem like they underperform. Even something you don't think gets views will still get subscribers. Question from Javon says, Roberto, should small creators look for editors or self-edit? I think at first self-editing is ideal, unless you just come from a lot of money. If you come from a lot of money, you have a really good salary, you have a bunch of money, you can skip ahead to just getting really good camera gear and having someone edit from you and just be the face of your content, like Gary Vee or Alex Ramosi or whoever. You could just have someone edit for you. But if you don't come from money, like I didn't, I'm still editing all my content. That's the problem. But I am working with my brother. He's going to end up editing my content, or at least part of it soon. But what I would say is that if you can learn to edit on your own, that saves you money, can save you time, can get you speed. Speed can be an advantage. Saving money can be an advantage. So I would say that for beginners, usually you don't have money and you need speed. So editing for yourself is usually the right thing to do. Frankie over 50, thank you, says, question, restarting my over 50 vlog after 6-month hiatus, only a new channel. I retired now and consider daily vlog content focused on weight loss, health, DIY food, cooking, lifestyle. I would package it as a lifestyle channel and make it vlog-like, but I would go more, Frankie, instead of the YouTube vlog, the new YouTube vlog is reality TV. And if the audience is also mostly over 50, now people, especially older people, are watching YouTube on connected TVs. Connected TVs is the single fastest growing vertical in YouTube right now, according to YouTube CEO Neil Mohan, and also according to Amjad Anif, the VP of Creator Products at YouTube. So connected televisions, meaning made for TV content on YouTube, is doing really well. So I would have somebody walk around and film you instead, and have them walk around and film you so that's cinematic instead of just vlog-like Casey Neistat content. Now, I would have someone film you, make it more reality TV content, and it would be lifestyle content. You can have the variety in a lifestyle channel. Female lifestyle channels are allowed to do variety content, but that's basically like the only thing that's allowed to do variety content and be successful. But it has to be packaged as a lifestyle thing. And I think the best thing for an older demographic is content that still feels like television. So that's the direction I would go in for your particular thing. Duncan Brazil says, question, Roberto, how do you deal with day-to-day, not always feeling inspired, but still need to deliver to the client the best way? What I would say is treat it like a job. I don't think most people are motivated or inspired to go to their job. I don't think most people are motivated and inspired to go to school, but you get up and do it every way. It's an obligation. It's your work. It's your profession. So set a schedule, put it on schedule, hold yourself accountable, treat it like a job, schedule a beginning and an end to it. And I would do it that way. As for me, it's what I'm trying to do with the live streaming schedule. I was struggling with uploads. Now I'm streaming 2 to 3 times a week. I put it on the calendar. I'm accountable to you guys, and that's how it is. Armand Curette says, why has it been a month since you posted a regular video? Life, my friend, life. Life happens. That's why I haven't posted a regular video in a month. It's as simple as that. Three Word says, hey, Roberto, thanks for everything. I looked into collab via Streamyard. However, it said that you have to be invited. I went this route because I'm trying to grow my podcast by appearing on more platforms. You have to be invited. I have to look into the invite thing with collabs. I don't know if there's a special criteria, but I'll look into it. Yes, Katie Ukulele says, yes, Roberto, quality leads to quantity when working on the right things. Not wait as I was typing, you were saying it. Yep. Jimmy V says, Roberto, I have a friend who just started a YouTube channel and uses Epidemic Sound and other copyright-free music, and YouTube keeps flagging for copyright. How do you prevent this? He needs to go into his Epidemic Sound account at the account level. And what he probably didn't do is he probably didn't link and whitelist his YouTube channel. So he needs to log into his Epidemic Sound account, and he needs to link and whitelist his YouTube channel so that they know exactly what YouTube channel it is. And that should solve most of the problem. And then beyond that, he can contact Epidemic Sound support. But I've talked about this before, and that's usually the mistake. It's user error, because there's an account section, and then you link your channel that you're using so that they know what it is, and that will solve it going forward. And then when he downloads the copyright-free songs, there is a PDF that has the license. So the thing is, if he's getting claims, he just uploads that, and the claim is released with that PDF, because it shows, see, I have the license that I paid for the thing. But what will prevent it is just going into the account and then telling them, here's the YouTube channel that I'm uploading the music to, and it whitelists the account. So it is another case of good old user error of, oh, I bought the thing, why isn't it just working? It's like, well, there's another step you have to take. So that's the deal. A Wild Rose, if it's happening when you opened up another account, try starting an account with a fresh email, a completely different fresh email, and then experiment and try it again. Savvy Tech Tips. I'm not getting anyone's hopes up. If anything, I am the destroyer and killer of dreams. Remember, I'm the guy telling you that 97% of channels don't succeed on YouTube because only 3% of them get monetized. So I don't know if you're being sarcastic about me getting people's hopes up, but maybe you're just being sarcastic and you're being funny, because I think I've seen you in the chat before. So I think you're just joking. But for anybody who thinks that's like, hey, you know, that about me, because I've had people make that assertion. I think it's funny. I'm like, guys, I'm probably the person who's probably killed the most people's YouTube dreams and told them to stick to doing it as a hobby out of anybody who's ever done YouTube education. I've probably discouraged the most people from doing YouTube. So that it's funny when people do. And I don't think you are, Savvy Tech Tips. I think you're fine. But what's funny to me is that once in a while, once in a blue moon, there's somebody who has wild YouTube hopes and dreams, usually someone in their 20s, right? And they try their little heart out, but the reality is they're just making selfish content, and they don't really make what the audience wants them to make, because they'll have videos and they have success. They'll have videos that have 10,000, 30,000, 50,000 views. And then the thing is, they're like, well, I want to make this. And then they get mad when what they want to make is not what their audience wants to watch. And their audience is like, could you just go back to doing the thing that I like? And then they get upset. Then they watch YouTube help videos. Then they try one or two things. Okay, they work or they don't. They don't follow up. They don't try to get specific information that would apply to them. And then they keep saying, well, I want to do this. And they keep bullying ahead. Then when it doesn't work, they blame YouTube educators and quote unquote gurus and say, all of you sold pipe dreams and nobody can make it on YouTube if you're not a Nepo baby, and everyone should just do this as a hobby because I can't make it. And that's what happens is you get disgruntled YouTubers once in a while. And then they say people like me are just selling them hopes and dreams. Now, I'm not going to say there are no bad actors in anything. Hell, there are bad actors in gaming. There are bad actors in beauty. There are bad actors in every niche, in every genre, in every profession. And that doesn't mean that nobody should sell anything ever just because 1% of their group is bad. 1% of someone's group being bad, even if it was 2% of someone's group being bad, is no reason to throw out the whole lot of people and throw everyone away and say everyone's trash because 2% of people decide to act a fool. There's no reason to do that. That's petty. It's stupid. It's ignorant. And the thing is, the only people who think like that are absolute freaking losers anyway. Just saying. But in the context of this conversation, that's where some disgruntled YouTubers end up, and then they attack people like me. And that's fine. What they never do is they can never debunk or dispute my information. And one of the reasons they can never debunk or dispute my information is because my information comes from YouTube corporate itself. Majority of the time. My information comes from the publicly available YouTube API data. It comes from interviews I've done with YouTube employees, both in person on the record and off the record. It comes from me quoting YouTube's blogs, Google's white papers, interviews on other news outlets with YouTube employees and the YouTube CEO, the YouTube CEO's monthly newsletter that goes out. I'm citing information that literally comes from the platform authority itself, the overwhelming majority of the time, or massive data case studies that come from Google or its competitors. And there's really not something factual to contradict me with. It's just not liking the thing that I do because it didn't work for them. But in reality, they never took all of my advice. And the reality is, even if they did, that doesn't mean that they interpreted it correctly for what their circumstance is, because when you give broad general advice, you know, there are some people that can take that advice and they're already smart. They already have money and resources, or they have charisma, or they're attractive, and it will work better for someone who doesn't have those things. And then when people don't have those things and things don't work for them, they get upset and they get envious and they get jealous. Why does this person have this and why don't I have? Or Mr. Beast isn't so great. Why has he got so much and I don't? Like, that's the attitude that people have a lot of times. And it's unfortunate and it's really sad, because the thing is, they had some success. Most of them had some success. They just ignored their audience because the content they wish would perform is not what anyone wants to watch from them, not yet anyway. And they are ignoring that the thing that they made that people really liked, they're not in love with it. It doesn't give them butterflies. So they're just ignoring that there's an audience that wanted something from them. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. Like this instead. And they keep trying to tell the audience what to like. And you cannot do that. You can't force the audience to like something because it's your preference. Now, at the same time, you don't have to make stuff you hate just because it performed well. I'm not saying that. A lot of people do that, by the way. Just like they work a 9-to-5 job they don't like because it pays well or pays something. So it's kind of the same thing. And that's just kind of how life is. And that's how YouTube is. And I told you this is going to be harsh advice. This is part of the harsh part. So you have people like that. Am I saying there's no legitimate criticism of me or other YouTube educators ever made? No, not at all. I've actually taken legitimate criticism, and it helped improve my website. It improved my products. It improved my services. That's helping me make more money than ever. The criticism that I got that was in good faith, the criticism that was meant for my own good, not for somebody to vent, but to help me do better, to genuinely help me do better, from people who wanted to see me do better or who wanted more from me. That actually worked. And I took that criticism and it did great for me. And I was happy. Because I'm like, oh, fantastic. You found something that I could improve upon, just like my track coach did, just like my martial arts sensei did. You found my flaws. You helped me improve them by pointing them out in the appropriate way where I could receive the information and act on it. Like, in a way, good criticism can be a form of coaching. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it's hard also when you love something to take criticism about it. It's hard when you work really hard and you try your best to be told, hey, you can still do better. And sometimes that feels encouraging. Other times it feels like crapping on your hard work. But if you don't take it personally and you take it professionally, it could actually benefit you a lot. And so for me, it helped. My website improved. There were things I improved about my website. There were things I improved about the cadence of some of the videos. There were things I improved in edits, all because I got well-intentioned, good faith criticism from people who wanted to see me do better. You never take criticism from someone who wants you to fail. Now, sometimes you can benefit from bad faith criticism too, because somebody who didn't like me did criticize me very harshly once upon a time. Interesting story. It was a bigger YouTuber, actually. It was a bigger YouTuber. Is the one time I actually ever got any negativity from a bigger YouTuber. It was shocking to me. Someone I was a fan of for a long time, actually, and was subscribed to. And he said some really ugly things toward me because he just didn't like one of my comments on his video, which wasn't even a bad comment. It was just I disagreed with something, and I said so. And he just felt threatened by the fact that it's like, you know how it is if a big creator comes in and says something that's like, dude, no one cared. There was like 4 replies to my comment. Like, no one cared. You're fine. But I digress. It was a very petty thing. I don't feel like it was handled in an adult fashion on his end. I tried to, be a professional. And eventually it just died out because I didn't make any videos or respond to it. But the funny thing is, his unintentional criticism of me did motivate me to improve aspects of my social media. And the result was that in my other platforms and other things they wanted to nitpick at, I grew more. That's why now I'm almost at 100,000 in Twitter now. So even people who don't mean you well can unintentionally benefit you when they criticize you, because even if they say it in an ugly way and you don't like it, there might be some truth to what they're saying if you consider it. Not the ugly parts, but the parts that you can pick apart and go, is there an opportunity for me to do differently or do better there? Or what would happen if I improve that, as if what that person was saying was even remotely true? Could I benefit by improving, even if that person was ugly about this and it's not factually 100% there? What if I assumed it is? How would I improve if I believed it was true? So sometimes there's a way to take criticism, even when it's not well-intentioned, even when it's bad faith criticism. Never let a tragedy go to waste. Extract value from your haters at every point. If you're going to have haters, you might as well exploit them for value. They're still an unrefined natural resource that you can harvest. So I believe in harvesting your haters. Use them as an abundant natural resource. Exploit the free labor of your haters out of sheer spite and contempt. So, yeah. So that's kind of, what I believe. And again, I'm being somewhat sarcastic and, facetious. Where do you find these stats? Oh, several sources. Where do I find my stats? Several sources. One, I pay about $60 a month to get special stats from Social Blade. So it's paywalled. A lot of my sources, paywalled. I also pay for a Statista account. So Statista is a statistics website that has a lot of data aggregates and reports, but I also am getting the paywalled version of that. There's a lot of data there that's free as well and everything. So basically, a lot of paywalled content. Now, some of this is on other free websites, so you can verify it for yourself. Some of it comes from YouTube, from the CEO letters and things like that. So you have to go to YouTube's blog. You have to read through the CEO letters from Neil Mohan, and before him, his predecessor, Susan Wojcicki, and stuff like that. There are YouTube videos on Creator Insider as well. There's the State of the Creator Economy report from Oxford Economics. There's a data research firm, pex.com. You can look at stats from 9to5google.com as well, and they do a lot of research from Google white papers. You can go to thinkwithgoogle.com, and you can look up a lot of the white papers that come from Google when they're trying to publish scientific papers and things of that nature, and reports for conferences and such. So it's a lot of variety of sources. You can also, there's, for a lot of the stuff, if you want to try to simplify some of the things, there's a site called playboard.co where you could get some statistical data. There is, I forget what there's livestream stats.com, I think it is, but there's a thing for live streaming that also has a lot of data and stats. And it actually interesting, even though it mostly is about live streaming, it has other YouTube's data and stats to it. I believe I might have a paid account with that one as well. So basically, there's about $200 worth of paywalled info, maybe more, because also I have a thing with, what is it called? God, what's that app called? It's not Fire something. It's, Jesus, what's it called? What is that app called? I pay like $300 a month or $400 a month for it. What's that thing called? Is it Fire something, or is it something? I can't remember the name of it. It has this like weird name, but there's this thing that I pay for that agencies have. And it's fairly expensive. I have it bookmarked, so I don't even remember the name a lot of the times of some of these bookmark websites. There's too many of them to keep track of, and it's like 9 o'clock over here, so a little fried. But yeah, so that's where I get a lot of my stats from. And if you end up in my blog post, then I end up citing a lot of the data points of the stats. So like a lot of it's in those links, but it's mostly official sources. So it's things like Think with Google, where they do the Google white papers. It's the YouTube official blog. It's the YouTube help files. It's the YouTube CEO letters. from that if you're signed up for those. And it's also things they've said in news and press conferences. It's interviews with the YouTube CEO, Neil Mohan. It's my own interviews as well. I've done 2 interviews with the VP of Creator Product. I've done an interview with the YouTube Creator Liaison, Renee Ritchie. So that's where I'm citing a lot of my data from. Simplished says, what's your thoughts on doing more live streams to get your watch hours up to get monetized? It's an effective strategy. It works. I got one of my other channels monetized that way. So doing the live streams can work as long as it's something people want to watch. You still have to make titles like you would for regular YouTube videos. You still have to make thumbnails like you would for regular YouTube thumbnail. So yeah, that would help considerably. Some of them, some live streams, Clover, have staying power, some don't. It depends on the subject matter, and it depends on how you frame it. Some of it's also a thumbnail game as well. So it really depends, but also it's different from niche to niche, but it depends on the niche. It depends absolutely on the niche. Yeah, Alan has been a member of the community for a long time, Tenif, so yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you do shorts, there's an interesting thing with shorts. If you do shorts and you're thinking of testing out live streams, use the vertical live streams potentially, and use the vertical live streams because that's getting more push because what you call the shorts feed is actually now the vertical feed, but YouTube still calls it the shorts feed. But the vertical live streams are getting gangbuster views. One of the creators I coached in my last season from, well, not my last season, but the latest season of doing work with Supercell and AMG, there was a channel that does Clash Royale content. So it's a mobile video game. And he does vertical live streams, and he's getting 100,000 views per stream. He doesn't have 100,000 subscribers either. He's getting 100,000 views per stream. And here is your ASMR Roberto content. There you go. So yeah, I would do the vertical live streams if you're a YouTube Shorts creator. I think it can be beneficial. Appreciate you, Marcino, watching all the way from Poland, even though it's 2 a.m. over there. Appreciate you. One of the things I would tell people is sometimes if you want to do alternative content just to express yourself, but you don't want to mess up the channel, just make those videos and make them members only. So if you want to make what you want to make, I'll tell you a strategy. So the strategy is if you want to make variety content and you just want to make certain things, but it's not performing on your channel, put it behind members, let members comment and watch and pay for that content so you can still express yourself, but not screw up a good thing that you got going on the main channel. That's an alternative that a lot of people don't consider. So Marcio says, question. The other day, Daryl Eves said that it's a good idea to let your video breathe for 48 hours to before posting a new video. What are your thoughts on that? Daryl is brilliant, and he's one of the smartest people in YouTube, if not the smartest person in YouTube. His thesis, though, goes toward he tries to maximize the most views possible, most views per upload possible on each and every video upload. And that's what he does with his clients like Mr. Beast and company and many large creators. I believe he may have even worked with Ryan Trahan and his team. That being said, we see evidence of channels that do multiple uploads a day. People like Tim Pool, but he's a news channel. People like one of my students, Steve Ram, does daily content and gets views doing it. We have somebody in the community who posts almost daily, if not daily. So we have Veteran Biker. He does news and politics commentary. He posts nearly daily, and it works. So it depends on your niche, for one thing. Daryl's advice is going to be more broad, more general. I highly recommend reading his book, The YouTube Formula. It's great, but it really could depend on what you're trying to accomplish, but it also depends on your circumstances. I grew off of daily content. Now, there are times when I get tempted to do daily content again. Generally, I do like this advice of 48 hours to breathe and to get data and so on and so forth, but I don't believe it's a hard rule at all. We see channels upload 3 times a day, like Timcast IRL. Tim Pool uploads 3 times a day. News content. Philip DeFranco uploads Monday through Friday, I believe, if not Monday through Thursday, and it works. There are people who upload daily content very, very regularly. People like Poor Man's Podcast. You have people who upload clips channels. Shorts channels upload 3 to 8 videos a day. Shorts channels like Jordan the Stallion, he uploads, I think, 3 to 8 times a day. So it depends on what you're doing. So for the niche and format, there are live stream channels that stream daily. There are people who do that all the time. PewDiePie was a daily channel. He was playing and uploading daily, and he was streaming multiple times a week. So that's a thing. So there are a lot of people who do a variety of approaches to YouTube. And so it really depends on the circumstances for it. Most people, maybe they don't have the upload cadence capacity because they work a 9-to-5 job. They need more time to make their content, edit it. They don't have an editor. They don't have a team. If you have an editor, you can do daily content if you have an editor. But 48 hours, I mean, a lot of people, they only post 2 to 3 times a week anyway. So I don't have a problem with this advice from Daryl at all. Not by any long shot. It's something that works very well for Ali Abdaal and Graham Stephan, for example. But the thing is, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what your niche is, what the circumstances around your niche are, what the demand for your content is. There's some content that the demand and the appetite is so great that it could sustain uploading 1 to 2 times a day, let alone that. And then if it's shorts, then 3 to 8 times a day, if it's in demand. So you have to really think about it. So that's one of the hard things with YouTube education and YouTube advice is that the advice we have to give aside from Q&A, I love live streaming and doing Q&As because now I can answer specific questions. But general advice is going to be more broad and therefore may or may not apply to your circumstances. The advice that applies to a creator who has 40 hours a week to put into content is not the advice that applies to a creator who only has 5 to 10 hours a week to put into content. The advice to a creator that has no money is different than someone who has a $10,000 a week budget. And so this is what makes things very difficult. That's why most of our public content is basically public school education. It tends to work the best for people who are already smart. James Robert Vlog says, what about generalist channels with millions of subscribers? Exception, not the rule, and most of them didn't start as generalist, and even the ones who did were early to YouTube, therefore had first mover advantage. Exception, not the rule. There's almost no generalist content that is growing from 0 today and getting to 100,000 or a million subscribers, the exception being shorts creators, but even them, a lot of them do specialize. Most people who are big and have 1 million subscribers are not generalist, and the ones who were, they're OG YouTubers who had a first mover advantage and very little in the way of competition, and therefore were able to audience grew up with them. But I don't think you can find a generalist YouTuber from the last 2 years, and even if you did, there's some people who grew and blew up during the pandemic. They won't be around 2 years from now. Now, in the exception of that, some of these people that you will find they're generalist, well, guess what they're going to have in their cap? I guarantee you, if you do find me an example of a generalist channel with 1 million subscribers that's grown very quickly, I bet you that they are above average attractive compared to most people on the platform and most people in real life. I bet you that they're above average extroverted. I bet you they're above average outgoing. And I bet you there is still some unique thing that they are known for, or that they're very good at, or a quirk of their personality. That would disqualify most of the people watching and most people in the real world because they will not be a combination of those things. So if somebody happens to be above average attractive, and I'm not even talking being a 10 out of 10, I'm talking if someone's rolls out of bed as a 7.5 before they do anything, they roll out a bet of 7.5, that person's going to most likely be able to win faster on YouTube if they also have technical ability, work very hard, and have some level of charisma. That person's going to win. That person also would win at sales at their job. That person also would probably win a popularity contest in general. That person also could probably teach themselves etiquette, teach them the things, and be very successful and move throughout society and be a socialite at a high level if you throw the right clothes on them. So there are psychological and predetermining factors and behavioral factors and talent advantages and inborn talent advantages that lead to very specific biases that lead to success. Success is not a function of strategy always. Strategy can only improve your base stats. The strategy you play with also only improves your base stats. It's like a video game, right? So it's like a video game. If I give you a buff only improves your base stats. If I give you a play style or strategy, it only works as effectively as the base stats allow for. So the thing is, there's no strategy that inherently makes somebody who's not talented, not attractive, not charismatic, and not good at anything as a general person, a talent on YouTube. That's not real. That doesn't happen. There's something else there, and then attention is justified because there's something that people are attracted to about them. Some people are attractive vis-a-vis their speech. You could just have an accent and win on YouTube, to be honest with you. You could be a faceless channel, have a great accent, and you can win on YouTube, not playing with you. As long as you're making content about something that has a large total addressable market and you have an accent, oh yeah, instant win. Do you realize how much bigger I would be if I had a British accent? If I had a British accent, I would be a 2 million subscribed channel. If I had a British accent. If I had a British accent and I was 6 feet tall, oh, game over. I win YouTube, I win Instagram, I win Twitter. Done deal. Not joking. Because if I enhance the base stat of my charisma, articulation, and intelligence with the modifiers of accent and height, instant win, one turn kill. It's all she wrote. Because it make me more interesting to a larger variety of people. That's just the truth. So one of those, one of the factors that determines those kind of outcomes is predicated on the base stats that you have, then amplifiers, and then time and effort over time. And it's just hard for a lot of people to admit that. There is a such thing as advantages that come from pretty privilege. There are advantages that come from having money. There are advantages from general attractiveness. There are advantages from being smart. There are advantages from being well-spoken or articulate. There are advantages from being extroverted or outgoing. There are advantages from being disagreeable. There are advantages from being likable. There are advantages from being able to move and shake and be a networker and be a people person. There are just inherent traits that do determine overall performance, and strategy is nice. But the thing is, if you literally have winning base stats, you have winning base stats. And the thing is, in some cases, it's harder for people not to succeed than to succeed if their stats are good to begin with. And I don't mind telling you that. There are just some people with natural advantages, and there's some people with winning circumstances. Now, if somebody doesn't have all those things, they could still be they could outwork somebody who has all those things. They could outwork somebody, but someone who has those things and works hard is almost unbeatable. You'd have to sabotage them in some way, or their ego would have to get in the way. But somebody who is hardworking and has good circumstances and has good base stats, inherent talent, abilities, genetics, whatever, really hard to beat that combination. Now, if you don't have great circumstances, but you're extremely hardworking, but you also had some good base stats, or you at least were attractive, if you were hardworking and attractive, it's probably the best combination. Even if you had bad circumstances, you start out poor, but you're hardworking and attractive, you can win and beat somebody who's born on third base, who's rich but not attractive, or rich but lazy. So the best thing would be to be attractive, hardworking, and start out with either money, or at least start out not poor or not struggling. But if you have to choose anything, you probably want to be hardworking, attractive, and intelligent in combination. To be above average, even a little bit in those three would be the best thing for you if that were the case. So I look at these things because, again, if you line up the most successful YouTubers, just line them up and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Like, so they have a lot of things going for them. You know? Now, I would say that someone who's smart and hardworking can accomplish a lot either way. That's also where faceless channels come in. Some people are just smart and very hardworking, and then they can make a faceless channel and they can overcome the biases that would come from the things like being attractive, for example. And that by being very hardworking on a faceless channel, they don't need an abundance of resources like camera gear. They can get a lot of free software together and then win on that. So the thing is, for someone who, okay, you don't have money, you don't have looks, but you're smart and hardworking, you can do a faceless YouTube channel and win. That's not to suggest that everyone does a faceless channel, does so because of their looks. Could just be not being extroverted, could just be not liking attention, not being very privacy conscious, being very First Amendment conscious. So there could be reasons. Right Mix says the emphasis on subscriber numbers is to make partner in any way with YouTube, so that becomes the objective success for YouTube. To a degree, but it only really matters at the 1,000 subscriber to 10,000 subscriber level for the most part. After that, it's predicated on what your business model is to make money. Because if you're a real estate YouTuber and you have 10,000 subscribers, you don't need 100,000 subscribers to be full time. One, you already have a real estate license, so you're probably already making good money. You're the master of your time at that point. And then the YouTube channel might just be a funnel for your personal brand. It might be for status, might be things, might sell a back-end real estate program on coaching. You could be, I've known real estate YouTubers with 10, 20,000 subscribers that make $250,000, $500,000 a year on YouTube, not because they do ad revenue, even though their CPMs and RPMs are much higher. They get $20 RPMs. So one, they get more views, even if they don't get subscribers. So they get high RPMs. So they are doing well on YouTube, making about $50,000 in ad revenue with 20,000 subscribers because it's real estate content. So a real estate YouTuber with 20,000 subscribers could make $50,000 in ad revenue, but then they're also making money on their real estate. But if they were selling a real estate course on top of that, then they're making another 150,000. So that's about a business model, and therefore they don't care about their YouTube subscribers really at all. Not really. So that's a difference in those things. The business model could decide that an affluent market that's smaller could be worth more money, because if you have 20,000 subscribers, but they're rich, you will do better than someone with 2 million subscribers who are poor. Think about it. 20 million rich YouTube viewers beats 2 million broke YouTube viewers. Because if you reach a rich audience and you have a business model that works for them, to the moon on money, not views, but who cares, right? Because you're now reaching the few people who can spend the most money. So that is a niche category situation. This applies to real estate as a niche, personal finance as a niche, the crypto people as a niche. This applies to even things like home repair and modeling and demolitions as a niche. That one's really lucrative, believe it or not. So there are some niches that are very eccentric, very affluent, that are smaller market cap, bigger monetary value, and it's not close. 100x, 1000x difference in the monetary side. And then there are people who get massive viral views, but it's a bunch of broke kids, so it doesn't matter. And they're also a lot more fickle in a lot of cases. The younger people can be fickle. No offense to anyone under 20, but you know how it is. We were all kids once. We know how it is. Gen X Memories with the $5 super chat. Do you think there's another platform like Rumble, etc., that will give YouTube real competition? Not for a lack of trying, but YouTube's too much of a household name. The pivot would probably be Spotify doing something relevant or Amazon doing something relevant. We will see. I like Facebook, not really, not so much. You have to remember that YouTube and Google Google's YouTube's real advantage. Name recognition, unlimited money for litigation, cloud infrastructure, data harvesting, AI. It's a massive thing. So the only thing that can compete with YouTube, Rumble is old YouTube and it's caught up, and I'm very impressed with what it's done as an alt platform. Rumble is where YouTube was 10 years ago, and there is a desire for the nostalgia of YouTube from 10 years ago. So in a way, yeah, but no one will ever catch up to YouTube except for maybe Spotify. Spotify is the only one I think that has the resources, the revenue, the subscription model, the positioning, the understanding of the market, and the lawyers to pull it off, and the understanding of copyright and the dealing with copyright to pull it off based on the music industry. They have the capacity to acquire and get talent. Spotify is the only real competitor to YouTube, but YouTube doesn't need a competitor in terms of its tech apparatus. It really needs it on policy. And I think Rumble is the competitor from the policy standpoint, because no one is upset with YouTube from a technology standpoint. They just wish that YouTube's competitors that had these better policies from that standpoint, or First Amendment policies. People want a First Amendment version, or First Amendment friendly in their mind version of YouTube, right? The problem is that but they don't want to give up any of the innovation that YouTube has done. They want a YouTube clone, and that's what no one's complaining about the product features or technology of YouTube, except maybe live streamers who literally only need 4 things to make it basically Twitch 2.0, right? Or YouTube could acquire, God, what's his name? Ludwig's company. I think it's Ludwig, who does the company like Truffle Co. That has the streaming widgets that makes YouTube like Twitch. So let's say YouTube acquires Ludwig's company. Okay, then all of a sudden, no one needs Twitch. No one cares about Twitch if YouTube gets everything for the chat to get the chat going like Twitch. Then no one cares, right? So Twitch would die, essentially. It's already happening. So there's that, right? So Rumble would need all of YouTube's vast resources, technology, and to be a YouTube clone for Rumble to be a competitor to YouTube, and then it's competing more on policy, right? But if you already just like or prefer Rumble's policies, are you willing to compromise not having YouTube's features? Or is the real answer YouTube's monetization and then the advertisers? Because you can't be a First Amendment version of YouTube and get the advertisers. That's the entire point. Advertising determines a lot. Advertising has a lot of power. Advertising requires concessions. That's how it is. Acts broadcast television. So therein lies the issue. So you can't have a better YouTube that also pays as good or better than YouTube. Not really. If a better YouTube for you means policy. Copyright. Let's look at copyright. TikTok thought it was the bastion of defeating copyright. And then Universal Music Group said, well, about that, pay the ransom or else. And TikTok didn't pay the ransom. As is, TikTok is being taken to the cleaners by the U.S. government at this point. So can't get a better copyright deal than what YouTube has anymore. That ship has sailed. So at the end of the day, the only thing that I think could do better on copyright than YouTube is Spotify. And then they're the only ones with the resources and engineering talent and the servers and the experience and the business model to monetize and pay creators well in the same manner as YouTube. But they won't be that much better on policy from my perspective. And if they are, there'll still be compromises on the technology. So again, there's only a handful of people that need a better YouTube competitor. And by that, I mean, what is there? 10% of the market that needs a better YouTube competitor? 90% of content creators are not going to get copyright strikes. 90% let me phrase that. 90% of full-time successful content creators are not going to get copyright strikes. 9% of successful full-time content creators are not going to repurpose other people's content. So they're not going to get the copyright issues. They want popular music. They'll license it from lick.com and they'll pay. They're full-time creators. They can afford to pay for licensing for music. They are going to usually, to grow to be the biggest creators, have to make original content anyway, because they want the rights to syndicate that content later, because now YouTubers are selling their portfolio to Amazon Prime. So at the end of the day, I only think the people who mostly need Rumble are doing Rumble. That number of people could grow. Rumble will improve. I hope it improves. But it's not because YouTube needs competition. it's already won. YouTube is a monopoly of meritocracy. And I'm not saying that suck up to YouTube. I'm just looking at the facts. The objective facts are, to compete with YouTube, you'd have to be able to compete with Google. Who the hell can compete with Google? It's only a handful of people who can do that. And I don't think there's money in building a YouTube competitor, not really. Because at that point, you're then just diluting advertising dollars even further. So that's fragmentation. Fragmentation doesn't really do it. The resources you have to do in potential sunk cost are a risk. YouTube had to operate at a loss for about 10 years. Who wants to do that? And investors are not so bullish as to want to do that anymore. So where's the VC funding even going to come from? So again, I think Rumble is doing great. I think it will continue to grow. I think it'll do better. I think it can make a splash over the next 8 years. But that timeline horizon is not good enough for the people who are advocating for it. But in the long term for the consumer, that's the answer. So that's my thoughts on that particular one. Great question, though. Great thoughts there. Fazu Battlecaster, $10 super chat. Thank you. You're bringing up RPG gaming references, just increased your base stats and modifiers. Yep, exactly so. Exactly so. Life in general can be looked at from the perspective of an RPG. So for those of you who play RPGs, real-time, role-playing games, not real-time, real-time strategy is RTS. Well, actually, RTSs are a good thing too. So, I mean, if you play enough RPGs and RTSs, you can optimize your life. If you play RPGs or MMORPGs, mass multiplayer role-playing games or role-playing games, if you play those, you can realize you can maximize self-improvement. You can become the ultimate version of yourself. You can look at yourself as a character, say, these are the stats I start with in life. I'm going to save my resources, buy only things that help me level up and power up and help me accomplish things. I'm not going to buy fancy things just because they look good. I'm not going to buy cosmetic accessories because they look good. I'm going to only attack things that are safe for me to attack without dying. I'm going to keep my health bar high. I'm going to acquire new skills. I'm going to try to stick on a main path and not get sidetracked by side quests. I'm going to do the thing that levels me up the fastest, the thing that optimizes the most, the thing that pays me the most, the thing that improves me the most. Constantly, consistently, I'm going to show up. I'm going to farm and grind for resources, hoard those resources, use that to acquire things that get me more resources. That's how you play a video game and level up your character in what's called an RPG. This is things like Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, etc., etc. This is an RPG, right? Usually a massive multiplayer RPG, an MMORPG. So that's how you would level up. Now that's self-improvement. Now, if you want to build wealth, that's self-improvement. That's good. Now, if you want to build wealth, learn real-time strategy games like StarCraft, where you start out with minimal resources. You learn to allocate those resources. You learn to min-max, so minimize loss, maximize gain, learn efficiency, learn resource management, resource allocation and deployment, optimizing for every outcome, anticipating threats, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, SWOT analysis. You learn that in real-time strategy. You become master of high-level real-time strategy. Then you can deal with outside forces, manage resources, allocate resources, acquire resources, and optimize for outcomes and anticipate things and create contingency plans. Real-time strategy is great for learning the beginnings of building wealth, managing wealth, accumulating wealth, and growing it. Real-time strategy games like Warcraft and StarCraft. That is how you would learn that. By the way, this also helps with learning YouTube to a degree, because you can improve your character stats and everything for YouTube. Is like, okay, I'll learn thumbnails. That's a skill. I'll learn editing. That's a skill. I'm leveling up in that skill. My equipment is bad. Oh, I'll get a different camera. I'll get this. Oh, I'll get switchers. Oh, I'll get microphones. So now I have better gear, better weaponry, better equipment. That's just leveling up your character like a video game. Okay. But then when it comes to expanding and growing in YouTube, then it's macro and micro actions, and that's real-time strategy rather than an RPG. So then that's where scale comes in. So real-time strategy teaches you scale, and RPGs teach you a model for self-improvement. Now, if you decide, okay, I'm not going to waste my time playing as many video games, Roberto, I want to apply this to my life, then you apply it to your life. You level up, you improve every skill, you get new skills, you acquire them, you choose a profession, you choose a skill tree. That's why we say niche down, specialize. So you choose a class and a skill tree and a profession, and you do that. And then in terms of things like crafting, that's like learning to do branding, thumbnail design. That's your crafting skills. Is like, oh, okay, I'm making assets. That's my crafting skills. Okay, cool. Even with crafting, that's learning how to make products and sell them and say, hey, now that I have crafting skills, now I can sell something. I can go ahead and I can make things and sell them and make money, use the money to get resources to level up. That's product and sales. So that's merchandise, digital products, whatever it is. So that's crafting. See what I'm saying? So like, again, literally video game logic is how you win on YouTube. It's how you win in business. It's how you win in life. Video game logic, game theory. That's all it is, game theory. So one day I'll probably write a book about that. Probably write an illustrated book that also outlines this and like ties different skill trees in life and does something like that. So let's see, catching up on the chat here. Make sure I got all the super chats. Yep, I got Fazu, Battlecasters. Yep. Let's scroll down to new comments. Bazu Battlescast says, keeping on the RPG line, you can also solo level by yourself for low-level mobs, but if you're going to take on a dragon, you need a party. Yeah, and that's why YouTubers who want to level, they get a team. So they build a party, they build a team. Some people also become part of a guild, so they become part of an organization. Just like with anything in life, you could try to be a solo, be a freelancer. Maybe you can be a freelancer and you could solo. Or you can join an organization called a company by joining a guild. If you're an entrepreneur, you build a party. And as an entrepreneur, you grow that party and maybe that party becomes a guild later. So that would be, how you might approach that. Yeah, studying game theory and gamification is actually really cool. I agree. Yeah, I get some of you won't move to Kick or this one or that one on principle. I don't care about who the most problematic people on a platform are any more than I care about who the most problematic people in a community are, because the minority of bad apples don't represent the entirety of a community, the entirety of a group, the entirety of a platform, and therefore it doesn't bother me. But if it does bother some people or they just don't want to be associated with people, I can understand that. I can get that. I can get that you don't want to be in a group that would have a so-and-so as a member. While I personally believe that to be very short-sighted and that it's very easy that if you really knew how bad everyone in every one group is, there are people that would say on principle, I don't want to be on YouTube because Logan Paul is on YouTube and Logan Paul hasn't been held accountable by YouTube for what he does, like the crypto thing. He scammed people. Small creators get kicked off for less. Someone could easily make the argument that they don't want to be on YouTube.com because they want to share a platform with Logan Paul. That wouldn't be the worst argument someone could make. I would still say that they were being short-sighted. So I have to make the same argument and extend the same grace to people who decide to be on Kick or Rumble or Twitter. There are people who are like, I don't want to be on Twitter if Elon Musk owns it. I think that's incredibly short-sighted. There's a lot of great people in Twitter. And so why does it really matter who owns it? And it's not that I don't believe in having principled stances. I just believe that a lot of principled stances aren't very well thought out and don't actually have material differences that are made. And this is also not, attacking anyone of any kind, but I generally believe that what most people want to call principled stances are actually just performative in general. Today, I grew up in the 80s and 90s and even in the 2000s, and I just feel like a lot of what I see now tends to be very performative in terms of people who scream their values from the rooftops instead of just living them. I think people could just live their values instead of screaming them from the rooftops. Yes. Attractiveness and pretty privilege isn't without its downsides. People could just be envious and jealous of you, spread rumors and innuendo. Same thing happens if you have money. If you have money, people think you never earned it, or that you earned it through ill-gotten gains, or that you exploited people. They'll never accept any narrative wherein you earned your money if you have more than them. Because if they couldn't win fair and square, then nobody can. That's ego talking and insecurity and projection. Same thing with attractiveness. Oh, must be nice to be attractive. Must be easy. I had a friend. She was actually very attractive, quite literally, a pageant queen and everything. She's married now. She's very happily married and successful. I think her and her husband are expecting. And the thing is, but she grew up and was made to believe that she was ugly because people were jealous of her. She was made to believe she was unattractive because guys wouldn't approach her because they were intimidated by how pretty she was. And the reason she also believed she was ugly is because they used to call her names and call her Scar because she had scars, because she had, skin cancer and had to have surgeries as a kid, something completely not her fault. But ultimately, she was very pretty, gorgeous, attractive, grew up to be very successful and to, prove something to herself. She became a pageant queen, dedicated herself to helping kids in burn wards or kids who have scar tissue or issues like she had growing up, and letting them know that attractiveness is something that comes from the inside as much as the outside or more. And, so she's very happy now. So there are downsides. You do get bullying. You do get envy. Even when you are attractive, you could be convinced you're not because people could just be mean to you or intimidated by you. The world runs on envy rather than greed, according to Charlie Munger, rest in peace. And I think he's right. The more I age, the more I see evidence, the more experience in life I have, the more evidence I see that the world runs on envy rather than greed. And so people often act out of places of insecurity more than anything else. So I do think it's possible for anything that is an advantage to also be a disadvantage. You can also get stalkers. You can get, so there's a lot of things you could take away from parts of what I said earlier. And something that you have to consider is there are downsides to anything. But the thing is, if you maximize the upsides and minimize the downsides, min-maxing, another game theory mechanic, min-maxing is real. So I would just maximize the upsides and minimize the downsides. I also think that utility can win, but for utility and real value to win, people have to be attracted to something, which is why I also talk about thumbnails and trying to have attractive thumbnails, if nothing else. So, that becomes incredibly important. And I think that a lot of thumbnails have to be attractive at a glance, and quality matters, but there's a threshold of what's called the threshold. I refer to this as there's something called that I call, thank you, Scott T, for the super sticker, $5 super sticker. There's something I call the threshold of acceptable quality. There's something I call the threshold of acceptable quality. And usually that means good audio, good lighting, good image quality, sharpness, focus, good microphone, that baseline technical quality. So that's one of the thresholds of acceptable quality on the objective things. Then on certain subjective things, you have to communicate clearly, present confidently, and connect emotionally with the audience, right? The 3 C's. So if you can do those things, the quality should be acceptable enough that if people like the experience, they are committing, subscribing, supporting, buying, whatever. So threshold of acceptable quality. If the threshold of acceptable quality has been met, then scale to quantity instead of trying to drastically improve. That's what I consider the reality of YouTube. So you do have to make at least acceptable content. You have to make decent content. But the thing is, that can be improved upon incrementally. But the best opportunity is just scale with quantity of what people said yes to. In other words, what I'm saying is take yes for an answer. Make content people said yes to. If it got thousands of views, make more of it. If it got you hundreds or thousands of subscribers, just make more of that. If you're selling, sell more of your bestseller and stop trying to sell the thing that I love this more. No, that's flying off the shelf. Make more of that. Sell more of that. It's that simple. And people make it more complicated than that because Emotions get in the way. I wish this would sell. Ah, damn it. Why don't they like this? I want them to like this. Oh, I wish they'd watch this. Damn it. Why don't they watch this? So that's the problem, is emotion, attachment, ego, pride. But the harsh reality would be the data says they like this, supply and demand. Give them more of what they said yes to. Give them more of what they want. Give the people what they want. I mean, it couldn't be more simple, but we do complicate. Even me, by the way, even me. More Crazy Wildfire says, hey, Roberto, question. Did you do a Tubebuddy workshop teaching small users how to break out on topics? I have a pro account, still learning the ropes. I did. You can watch it in the live tab. There's a replay of that. Make sure you guys are checking out our workshop Wednesdays. But yeah, we do workshops. And I did one with my friend Shelly Nathan. Shelly Saves the Day. She is former Tubebuddy employee, former Google employee, and former, I believe, was it Facebook or Amazon? I think she's a former Amazon employee too. Or was it Facebook? No, I think it was Amazon. I think she worked at Google, Amazon, and TubeBuddy. So yeah. So anyway, my friend Shelly Nathan, Shelly Saves the Day, we did a workshop together on my channel about TubeBuddy, basically with everything you need to know. I think that thing has like 40, 50,000 views on it. And it's a full deep dive workshop. Curly Mika says, do you know why views are getting low on YouTube? I usually get at least 1,000 views on each of my videos. Now they're only getting like 200 views. Could be the topics, titles, could be timing. There's times there's seasonality to certain things. Sometimes there's seasonality to things. So keep that in mind. Depends on your niche. Hey, Bo Raven. Looking forward to our coaching call next week. All right, so it's almost 10 o'clock here. We're hitting the 2 hour and change mark. I think we'll go for a couple of more minutes. And then if you guys still have questions, we'll end this in under 3 hours so that's easier for me to make clips out of it. And Ink Guy says, is Rumble worth it if your content is very vanilla? So interesting question. So Roberto, is Rumble worth it if your content is very vanilla? You know, people watch all kinds of things. And if they just happen to be on Rumble, they might have an appetite for what you're making. Now, is kids content going to do well on Rumble? Right now, probably not. But it depends on what you're making. I've seen anime creators do well on Rumble. I've seen sports creators, especially UFC recap content, do well on Rumble. There's a lot of things, and they're changing their stuff. Their algorithm is getting good on discovery. They're catching up to where YouTube was like 10 years ago. So I think that there's something to it. And there's a nostalgia and desire for like 2010 through 2013 YouTube. That's why I see with Rumble is just I see it as old YouTube the way it was in 2010 and 2013. And I feel like that's kind of where it is, both in culture, but also in its tech. Its tech is there at that level, I think. So I think it can improve, and I think your content can be vanilla. I think that there's an opportunity for sports people to do well there, esports people. I think commentary can do well to some degree. News obviously does really well, and not just politics. And by the way, I've seen news from every side of the aisle. I know that it's painted as being very partisan, but I've seen news from every side of the aisle do well on Rumble. I've seen news from every side of the aisle do well on YouTube. I've seen news from every side of the aisle do well on Twitter. On Twitter, not Twitch, but Twitter. So, you know, I think that a lot of people have preconceptions about things, but there's somebody succeeding. There's always somebody succeeding. 10K is usually what makes a channel seem legitimate eyes of potential sponsors. Yes, that's true. So All Ball TV says, why does 10K subs matter? 90% of people don't ever get it. That's why. So in anything you do, being in the bottom of the top 10% would still matter. So the 90th percentile still matters, you know? And in YouTube, the 90th percentile, believe it or not, is 10K subs. But then as a minimum threshold for sponsors of being a micro influencer, it matters for being a micro influencer and being viable for sponsors. Also, 10K in Instagram is also what would make you viable there. So it's 10K in Instagram, 10K in YouTube. So like that's a thing. So that would be why. I think you'd be into faceless channels, AA legal focus if it was documentary stuff. I don't think the content has to be vital, but I think if it was like really good and it was documentaries, you would like it. Ty's Hot Mess History. Thanks for the stream. Just wanted to show some support. Appreciate you. Thanks, Ty. Should we post the same clips to multiple platforms like X, Instagram? Yeah, I'm doing that with Opus, and I see a lot of people doing it, and it works. It really works. Also, Minilin says, thank you for your energy because time does not exist. We do. Interesting. Yeah, being platform agnostic, like Clovertax says here, and having diversity of platforms is key. I also believe in having diverse revenue streams and diverse payment processors. Fazu Battlecaster says, hey, based on Discord, my new yellow banner seems to be the winner. Great. Glad to hear it. Glad you got some feedback on that. Katie Ukulele says, thank you for all you do, Roberto. All right. Appreciate you. Thanks, Katie. Thanks for being a great supporter. Steve and Deep says, Roberto, does it matter where the views come from? Our videos get high CTR on browse and search, but stuck in suggested. Usually we get good views if our impressions are from browse and search, but not suggested. I actually don't necessarily fully believe it matters where views come from. I think it can matter for decision making. I think it can matter for a lot of things, but not necessarily for growth, but for decision making. So if I'm doing A/B testing and the views came from suggested, I would change the thumbnail instead of the title because the thumbnail shows up more in suggested than the title does. If it was browse, though, I might change the title more because of how somebody scanning the homepage of YouTube might react. And then if it was search, I'm probably also a lot more focused on the title than I am on the thumbnail if it was search. So for decision making on A/B testing, where the views come from would matter. Now, algorithmically, I don't care. Suggested will mostly usually be your own videos anyway, unless you're like you're a music channel or something. It'll be your own videos. Most of your suggested traffic will be from your own library, your own videos. If like it'll be watch history based. That's also true for these live streams, by the way. I get most of the suggested traffic for these live streams, which is most of its traffic overall after the stream ends, from my own library of content. So it's all watch history, which is why I need to upload more regular YouTube videos because that's the best chance I have of doing that on watch history. Eventually, I actually do have an experiment for this channel planned where I'll do YouTube facts as shorts, and I won't be linking those long form. My strategy for shorts will be to make 100 YouTube shorts, make them evergreen, make them weird YouTuber facts mostly. Some will be YouTuber facts, some will be influencer facts and social media facts, things like that. And then just link a bunch of shorts together, get people binge watching shorts so I can maximize watch history. Then when they want to watch long form, I won't have to link to it. YouTube will promote it. So that's been working for my gaming clients anyway. That's the short strategy that's worked for my gaming clients. So since that's the short strategy work for my gaming clients, and not just my gaming clients, but it's also worked for some of my clients in other niches, then that's the strategy that I'm going to use for it. I believe that shorts, videos, and live streams are all separate audiences and that we can capitalize them with different strategies. I don't need the overlap to work for me. I would just rather build those unique audiences, but then also just be surfaced for the content that the person wants to watch. The key to it, though, is having enough relevant inventory of the thing that they want to watch in the format that they want to watch it in for the year that's evergreen and building a back catalog. So my new goal is mostly one with even these live streams. It's giving me back catalog of extreme long form content, Q&A content that builds reputation, credibility, and gets people to be more invested in me and like realize that I know what I'm talking about. So that's that. I'm going to make regular videos that are between 8 and 16 minutes, you know, a couple of over 20-minute videos that are also substantive, can win in search, dominate for the search stuff that I want, and will also solidify me as an authority with people who are unfamiliar with me, and give me more opportunities for discovery through search in digestible enough content. Shorts, I'm going to appeal to a wider base who's never seen me and just be an interesting guy who's very articulate. And then they might get curious about what else I do. And so it's a different psychology for each format. It's a different psychology depending on your niche of what you have to accommodate. And then when it comes to your traffic sources, you also have to look at the viewer intent of why that traffic source matters, but also how big the impressions are per traffic source. So this is why we go into the YouTube analytics stuff all the time. But this is also why I talk about the psychology of YouTube and the psychology of social media and how these decisions get made. Because what you're really doing is you're dealing with everyone's coin toss of everyone's tossing a coin, go or stay. And every time they're doing that coin toss of go or stay. And you have to know and understand your audience well enough to always get them to keep staying. So it's go or do I click on this video or not? That's a decision tree. Okay, I clicked on the video. First 10 seconds have gone by. Do I stay or not? Flip a coin. Okay, all right, I'm staying. 30 seconds have gone by. Do I go or stay? They asked me to subscribe. Do I subscribe or not? You see what I'm saying? Literally over and over, they're flipping that coin in terms of a decision tree of levels of commitment. And so as a creator, it's your responsibility to understand what will make someone commit. Mark Macaro says, so question, if it's 10K in YouTube, 10K in Instagram, how would you place Twitter and Facebook? 10K also is a good start. Well, 10K is actually the minimum requirement for live streaming monetization in Facebook. 5,000 gets you monetized in Facebook. So for Facebook, it's like, yeah, 5 to 10K because they need that for monetization too. So 5 to 10K in Facebook for monetization. Twitter, you get monetized at 500. I would say even 1,000, and being a nano influencer in Twitter, 1,000 is really hard to get in Twitter, believe it or not. Most people don't ever get 1,000 in Twitter, but 10,000 would make you certainly relevant in Twitter. 500 to get monetized, but then it's also impressions after that. So yeah, across the board, 10,000 is the sweet spot for social media, to be honest with you. 10,000 is the sweet spot across social media. That's what we're really shooting for. Yes, Dave, everything is a funnel. It's that coin toss I told you about. Everything's a funnel, 100%. Yeah, Stephen Deep says that's really eye-opening about the coin flip concept. Absolutely, but when I said it, tell me in the chat right now. When I said that and I demonstrated the coin flip idea, that coin flip theory, did that not resonate with you? And don't you think that that's how you all end up making decisions? Like I said, doesn't that coin flip decision tree that I just illustrated, doesn't that actually resonate in terms of, yeah, you know what? Here's that video. Flip a coin. Do I stay? Do I click on that or not? Yes or no? All right, 10 seconds in. Do I stay or do I go? Oh, you know, he's live. Am I watching or not? Hey, you know, like, tell me in the chat. If you're a replay viewer, tell me in the comments. Does the coin flip analogy for decision making when it comes to prioritizing content, does that resonate with you? Does it make sense when I say it? Don't you make decisions that way? Again, a lot of yeses in the chat. Headbanger's Kitchen says, what would you do if you had a channel with 685,000 subscribers, but your new videos were just getting 5,000 views. Start a new channel or just keep pushing on the existing channel. So what I would do in that situation, I run into this from time to time. In that situation, I go back and I find what is it that I did and how long ago did I get a banger video, right? So I go back and say, what are the videos I ever made that got 100,000 views? Then I just go back and I just make what people clearly wanted and make an updated version of that video with an updated title, updated thumbnail. Headbangers Kitchen. Go find a video of yours that in the last year, in the last 12 months, got over 100,000 views. You probably have at least 3 or 4 videos that in the last 12 months got 100,000 views because you got where you got for a reason, right? Go back and look for those videos. This is a strategy I can tell all of you about YouTube in general. Is if you have a decent amount of subscribers, or if you have some videos in the past, even if it's the last 2 years, and they have over 100,000 views, go hunt down every video you've ever made that has 100,000 views. Write them all down. Write down a list. Then I want you to also go and open up your thumbnail program, make a better version of every thumbnail that ever got you 100,000 views. You find a video with 100,000 views you did, make a better version of those thumbnails. Take new photos, with a better pose, a better version of that pose, a new outfit on, whatever got you 100,000 views, make a better version of that in terms of a thumbnail. Whatever got you 100,000 views, I want you to take that, go into ChatGPT, watch my title workshop for ChatGPT. I did a title workshop here on the channel. Go to the live tab. You're going to see a title workshop for ChatGPT that I did, and I walk you exactly through how to write all the prompts. Get ChatGPT to write you a better version of that title and tell it you want 5 variations of this and tell them you want the title to work at like a 3rd to 5th grade reading level. Then you get a better title out of it. So now you have a better thumbnail than something that already performed and got like 100,000. Then you go ahead and you get a better title, a better thumbnail than that. Now you're making an updated version of the video and you bring the energy, and that should succeed. Now, that's a general advice for all of you. Now, Headbangers Kitchen is saying that content doesn't exist, and it looks like you're saying that doesn't exist because you started doing keto diet, which is no longer relevant, and neither are you on the diet. Okay, so Headbangers Kitchen, what happened was you code switched on your audience. You code switched on your audience. Imagine me making a channel and getting 500,000 subscribers because I did vegetarian content, and then I flipped on them and I went to the carnivore diet. Now, here's where you might be able to recover, Headbangers Kitchen. Why do people, and I want you guys in the chat, because some people like Malevolent Elephant loved your content. Why do people do keto? So I'm going to give you a trick here to save your channel potentially. Can't guarantee this will work, but let's try this. Make 150 videos in this new direction. Tell me something. Let's start with a simple question. You'll be the last thing we probably cover before we move on, or before I close out the stream and try to get a good night's sleep. And I might get a workout in first. But why do people do a keto diet? Why do people do a ketogenic diet? What is the goal that someone has if they're doing a keto diet? Can anyone tell me the answer in the chat or in the comments? What is the reason that someone would do a ketogenic diet? What are they after? What is their goal? If someone's doing keto, why? So let's start with that. So we have someone saying losing weight, weight loss. Okay. Weight loss and better health. Reduce blood sugar, which is also better health. Weight loss and health. Weight loss, fitness, weight loss, and health. Fantastic. So if the ketogenic diet was the reason that people were doing that, and it's quick weight loss, and you were doing that, let me ask you, Headbangers Kitchen, why did you stop doing keto if that's the case? Did you find a better diet to achieve your goals than keto? Also, this is a lesson for all of y'all. If you build a channel in general around your journey, you got to kind of be committed to the journey, because if you pivot too much, you will lose everybody you built along the way in many cases. So it was unsustainable for you for long term. So what did you move on to replace the ketogenic diet? What did you move on to replace keto? If weight loss was your goal and it was unsustainable for you, what did you move? Why did you move on? So you have to make videos that are why I stopped doing keto, why I quit keto, why keto didn't work for me anymore. It's also not a hot topic anymore. Malevolent elephant's right. So, and that's the case, like, what did you decide to move on to? You did all those videos and they didn't work. Okay. I would argue that one of the reasons they didn't work is because even if keto isn't working for you, here's the problem. If something's not working for you, but it worked for your audience, you now are disconnecting from those people. So you moved on to eating in moderation. Okay, so there's nothing special about eating in moderation. So now we know exactly why your content isn't working, and there's a lesson in this. Now, there may not be a solution, by the way. There may not be a solution. The answer might be you have to grind from nothing as if you have no subscribers, or you might need to move on to a new channel unless you're going to go back to keto. Because the answer is this. If you make a channel and you decide to take everyone on a journey, and it's in your case, it's that you went on a keto diet and it was great, and you said all these great things about keto, and then all of a sudden you're not doing keto anymore, it's hard to follow you. You lose credibility. And so even with all those views, they signed up for something that no longer exists. So now what you're down to is the 1% of people that signed up for you and will follow you anywhere, and you're back to 1%. So I would argue that you have to do one of a couple of things. These people were here to lose weight, get in shape. So I would say that you might have to move to some type of content that is about weight loss videos in general, that might be something along the lines of 10 foods to eat to lose weight fast, 10 foods to eat to lose belly fat. You might have to do something like that. You might have to do something more along those lines and focus on food for weight loss, because that would still, without you having to go keto and brand off of keto, it would still be about the nutritional value. So, and that might be harder, but you might have to grind. So that might be harder. But that's the answer for that channel. But in general, like, yeah, some people, it's low carb, it's this, it's that. So there's a, so that's kind of your issue. The issue is code switching. And for most of you, the issue is going to be code switching. If you start out with a value proposition and you ever get so popular that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people commit to that value proposition, if you switch up on them, you will lose them. I'm going to use an analogy for you guys. If you pivot your content, and there's no crossover, it's like going to college, picking a major. Let's say you decide I'm going to go pre-med, and then you go pre-med, you're 2 to 3 years in, and you decide, damn it, I want to be an artist. How many of your pre-med credits are going to transfer to you being now a bachelor's of arts, being a liberal arts major? Do you really think that it works to go from being pre-med to go into liberal arts? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Do you really think that your credits are going to cross over from pre-med to going to a bachelor of arts? Probably not half of them, right? This is why when we pick an audience, why we niche down, why we go in a certain direction, we have to be committed. We cannot be half pregnant. We have to realize we're in this for the next 5 to 10 years. That's that. 5 to 10 years down that road. Juan Camilo, okay, you're gonna be one of the last ones, and you're promising you're not spamming with this comment, and that's a legit question. All right. So Juan says, Roberto, I don't have many friends in any social media account. What would be a good promotion strategy for a new project on a YouTube channel? So Juan, I want to ask you a sincere question back. Are you trying to build a business? Are you trying to build a career? Or are you trying to find friends that share your interest? Genuine question. Because I don't usually see people. Also, I'm curious about what your age is, because I don't see people say I don't have friends in social media. They say I don't have followers in social media. They say I don't have an audience. So are you someone who's trying to find friends and build relationships, and you're trying to do that online? Are you someone who's trying to start a career online, or are you someone who's trying to start a business? Which one is it, and how old are you? Because that will determine the answer that I give you. You want to build an art project, but you also want to make money. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to be very real with you because the title of today's session is Harsh Advice. It's harsh advice. Are you willing to make what people will buy and give attention to, or do you want to make something that is fulfilling to you? Do you want to make what will make you money, what people will buy, what will sell, or do you want to make something that you find meaningful? Which one matters to you? If I give you the option, because everyone says I want both, if I tell you you can make what you love and nobody will care and no one will buy it, or you can make something that you don't really have that much emotional investment in, but you will make a lot of money, which one will you do? Which one of those would you do? If I make you have to have a sadistic choice between you can make the art that fulfills your soul or you can make money, which one do you do, assuming it's a sadistic choice where you don't get to have it both ways? Because, yeah, I'm not letting you have it both ways. No hybrids here. No hybrids. No mythical creatures. You have to choose. You must choose. Life offers a sadistic choice. The art that fulfills your soul, but no one buys it. Maybe you get some attention. Maybe you have a hardcore following of a couple of people. Or you can do something that doesn't fulfill your soul, but makes a crap ton of money and gets a lot of attention, but you don't even like it really. So what are you doing? I want to, because again, my answer is predicated on if life offers you a sadistic choice, what are you optimizing for? What are you optimizing for if life gives you a sadistic choice? Part of my perspective on this is the answers are different, somewhat predicated on your age. If you're 20, not married, no kids, maybe you choose to do the art that fulfills your soul because you can get by for 5 years on ramen and you can call it a interesting time in your life because no one depends on you. And if you're in a situation where failure means you go back to mommy and daddy in the suburbs, then by all means choose art. If you have kids, you have no business choosing art and choosing fulfillment over paying your bills. That's Roberto's harsh advice. You have kids, you're married, you have responsibilities, you got mortgage, rent's due, you do what makes money. Art be damned. Do it on your weekends. Do it on your days off. Just some real talk. Hey, not everyone's going to agree with that, but hey. So the thing is, but if you're in your 20s, you have no responsibility, you can be broke and eat ramen for a couple of years. Just don't let it go too far. Swing for the fences, dream big. If you're in your teens or 20s, now just so long as you're not going to end up homeless, as long as failure means you go back to mommy and daddy in the suburbs, it's okay to do that. But if you've got to make it, then you're going to have to get comfortable in real life. In real life, if you want to make it, you got to get comfortable doing things you don't like. You got to learn to get along with people you don't like. Some people you don't respect. Some people you even have contempt for. And that's the truth. And a lot of people cannot stomach that truth, and it puts them in worse situations than just sucking it up. Because you can end up in long-term bad situations. You can end up in long-term bad situations because you can't endure temporary, mild discomfort. And this happens to a lot of people, a lot of people. And so sometimes it's better to have the patience, the fortitude, the temperament to say, I can endure doing things that are uncomfortable, very hard, and I dislike, because it's going to give me the opportunity to make that a very temporary situation in life. Will I deal with 4 years, 5 years of hardship, 5 years of depriving myself to know that for the next 50 years, I get to do everything on my own terms? Will I give up 15 years of working hard to know that for the next 30, I live a life of leisure? That is a very difficult thing for most people to follow through on. They can say it and they talk a really good game about it, but will they do it? Will they be about it? And that's the truth. Sometimes it's grind mode when you're at the low levels. When you're at the low levels, it's grind mode. It's do or die. And it's suck it up and show up. It's show up and suffer. It really is. Sometimes you just got to show up and suffer. But you do it in such a way to where the plan is to make that temporary. That way, your desired outcome is permanent. So that's the reality. Now, in that case of you want to do an art project and you want it to be seen, you need to go where attention already exists. So I don't know the specifics, and maybe you can't share the specifics because you don't want someone to rip off your idea. I'll tell you what I would do. I can't tell you that this will work because I don't know your circumstances well enough, but you maybe can't share your circumstances because the reality is if you do, maybe someone rips off your idea, rips off your project, and that could be very, very bad. So I don't require you to share the details. Just understand that my advice will not be perfect because I don't know enough about your situation. In a situation where I want attention for art and I know that I'm doing something that really only I care about, I need to find a means or a way of allowing it to be platformed by someone who has an audience that also can enjoy and like the thing a lot. So I actually need to be in front of people that can platform me. Now, there's different ways you can do that. If you can tie your art project in some way to philanthropy, if your art project can get tied to philanthropy and to a cause that is very, very important and meaningful to someone huge, then that could help you dramatically. Excuse me, guys, 1 second. Okay, just need to make sure that wasn't an emergency. So anyway, like I was saying, if I knew I'm a nobody and I'm doing this art thing and it's really weird and artsy fartsy and like, oh, wait, nobody really cares, I need someone who does care. So what can I do? I can tie it to a cause that is very meaningful to some very important, powerful people that have a platform. And then I could try to leverage that to get eyeballs and attention for the thing that I do. And I can also accomplish some good along the way so that supporting me means supporting the cause. That's practical. This has been done by artists for millennia that needed to get attention for something. So if something is meaningful to you, but it's not meaningful to other people, you still need to align it to what is meaningful to other people. And you still need the power of someone's authority that is recognizable and has a captive audience that you do not. So that would be some of my best advice. It's also very practical to try to become part of and be connected to the art world and the art scene, which means you have to be in a place that is prominent to that, which means doing whatever it takes to work and get there, which is usually places like New York, LA, and Paris. So you have to be in an art scene. So that becomes important as well. You have to put yourself in a position to network appropriately. And so this will invite opportunities. And so that would scale that discovery. I don't believe that for getting an art project that you need to go viral on social media per se. I think that real world connections with people that can then get you mainstream attention through this and tying it to things becomes very valuable. And I think it becomes extremely important. And the thing is, the reality is those people also still have social media followings, and their followers might be influencers as well. And then that can scale it. So that would be the most practical advice for a traditional artist. That'd be the most practical advice for a traditional artist. To a different degree, this worked for a female artist that I know in New York. I'm not gonna like name her name or talk about her project, but that worked. So that's where I would go with it. If in terms of what's the best way to promote art, if you're talking classical art, then yes, that would be important, and you have to position yourself accordingly. But again, it's not just about being in the right place at the right time with the right people. You have to have something they care about. So the right place, the right time, and the right people. You also need to now have value to offer them. And that would mean, hey, we care about the same cause. I have a means of supporting the cause because they have a platform, but they don't have artistic ability and talent. If they love what you're doing and it's interesting and it speaks to them, then that's kind of really your answer. So again, this historically has been proven to work. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, you do have to play the game plain and simple. Yes. I agree. And that's kind of why I also teach the beginnings and basics of like game theory as well. Yes, please remember to like the stream, especially on the way out. Smash that like for the algorithm. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's any other really good questions before we go. If not, we'll leave them for the next stream. Remember, we typically try to do monetization Mondays, workshop Wednesdays, and FAQ Fridays like this one. And we try to answer all of your questions and get some unique perspectives. And remember, if you check out the Roberto Blake highlights channel, I'm very soon here going to be posting clips from the live stream to the Roberto Blake highlights channel. So make sure you guys are checking that out. Coco says, question, I'm having a hard time deciding on live streaming on Twitch versus YouTube. Do you have any insight on YouTube Live when it comes to gaming? I would tell you, actually, I have some, and I've coached a bunch of gamers, but here's what I'll tell you. No matter what anyone tells you, just stream on both. Just stream on YouTube Live and on Twitch. Monetization doubles by doing that. Just go for it. And just make thumbnails for the live streams and everything like that. And make sure you're getting clips that you can repurpose for your other platforms and for your VODs. So I would absolutely just do both and clip VODs, and I would do that. Honestly, hand to God, just do both. Live stream on YouTube and Twitch. I'm doing that. Now, again, my content's not as suited to Twitch, but it's killing it on x.com. Multi-streaming is the way. Multi-streaming is the way. So that's going to probably end it. That was a good question to end on there. Thanks to everybody who super chatted. Thanks to all the admins. Thank you to Clover Tech. Katie, I need to make you a mod as well. So thanks, Clover. Thanks, Katie. Great questions from Headbangers Kitchen. Juan, I hope that helps you out on the art side. Yep. So again, I want to thank our good friends and sponsors at Streamyard for helping me live stream. Also, congrats to them on the acquisition from Bending Spoon. Also, sad shout out to some of our friends at Streamyard who are no longer going to be with the company. If you are with Streamyard and you happen to watch this, reach out to me. Let's get connected on LinkedIn. Happy to give you a lot of you guys referrals. But again, congrats to the company on the acquisition by Bending Spoons. Thank you to our friends at OpusClip for helping me with the clips that are going to be growing my other platforms, but are already growing my other platforms actually, but are also going to be helping me with the highlights channel. So thanks to OpusClip, hopefully we're going to get to the point where we're posting 3 highlights a day for you guys on the highlights channel. And thanks to our friends at Kajabi for helping me with awesomecreatoracademy.com and doing my own digital products, so I don't have to be a digital sharecropper. You can get everything in the description down below in the links, but also for anybody watching, make sure you're checking out awesomecreatoracademy.com. I'm going to drop that here in the chat. Awesome Creator Academy. .com. I need to make some more promo graphics for my own website. So yep, awesomecreatoracademy.com. You can hit me up there for coaching. You can also check out any of our great digital products. We have some stuff starting at $9, including our AI creator prompts for ChatGPT, the creator starter pack for thumbnails and social media posts. And of course, we also have our creator blueprints, which teach you a lot about the best practices for being a content creator. All of those are $9 products. You can also join the Academy Pro group. That is a monthly membership, and you can work with me one-on-one in coaching. So just check out all of our great products. Everything is linked in the description. Again, thank you to our wonderful sponsors. They all have free trials that you can check out for $0 for those free trials, and those are sponsor and affiliate links. So make sure you're checking that out. So all the resources are in the description. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Remember, about 6:30 or so Eastern Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do these live streams, Monetization Mondays, Workshop Wednesdays, and FAQ Fridays. Thanks so much, everybody. As usual, we're going to end with the trailer for my book until I come up with a better video to end on. Stay awesome, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. I finally did it. I finished my book, Create Something Awesome, How Content Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. The book is available now in paperback and in Kindle, where you can read it on any e-reader or device. And I'm really excited about this. The audiobook is coming soon, probably October 2022. Oh my God, it's so great to be able to have this book done, put it up on the bookshelf, and to know that all of you who appreciate it, you want to hear what I have to say about the creator economy, becoming a full-time content creator, and what the experience and lifestyle of being a content creator actually is like. This is the book. I put 20 chapters in here of the most important things I think that content creators could be focusing on today. I talk about the mental health aspect of being a content creator, getting discouraged, imposter syndrome, not charging what you're worth, and mostly actionable advice around monetizing your content properly, but also how to build an audience on your authenticity and what it's really like to start from zero, even today. So if you're interested, make sure you're checking out the book. You can order it on Amazon. You also probably order it in a lot of other places like Barnes & Noble, and it will be coming to other bookstores soon. Really excited about it. Thank you for all the support and love around the book and the positive reviews. Now go ahead and pick it up and make sure you go out there and create something awesome today.